Hello and welcome to what is, I believe, the 11th episode of my point-and-click picky conundrum pilgrimage, a series where I revisit 5 games from my childhood, all point-and-click games obviously. This is the 5th and last of these games. It is Discworld Noir, released in 1999, 1 year. Like almost to the day after Grim Fandango. This game, so much to say about it actually. I have played this game last over 20 years ago. Because this game is only really works on Windows 98. Which I remember because I upgraded my parents' computer at the time to Windows 98 to be able to play this game. And even on Windows XP that was released in 2001 and 2002, it was already not working properly. It was impossible to play. And so finding a way to play this video game again, which I've been wanting to do for a long time, has been one of the major impetus behind running this series. And so this has all been working up to this. It is also obviously the game, despite the fact it's the most recent, it's the game that is less fresh in my memory. So I don't remember much of it, and it will mostly feel like a first playthrough, probably. But the game is not too hard, so I'm not super worried about it, and I still expect we managed to finish that in 3 streams. It is my expectation. The reason the game is not too hard is there's just not a lot of combinatorics. I have actually opened the game to check it works, so I'm a bit more. I remember where the buttons are mostly. What else to say about it? Yeah, I think that's quite enough background for now. The rest I may share when we play. So let's get started with this Bogartian adventure. If it sounds familiar, it should, but is not related to the Day of the Dead. It is related to death, though, as we'll see very soon. But this is Discworld, and this is inspired by noir movies. So just a little note before we start. In this game, in true noir fashion, it is raining at night all the time. And on that, let's start a new game. Nope. Oh, okay. In the carnage that followed, the Tsortsis Falcon was lost, perhaps forever.
I've had some bad days since I started work as a private investigator. But I'd never woken up dead before.
Right, so...
It all started the week before, on a cold and wet Sectober day in Ankh-Morpork, the oldest and most depraved of all the cities on the Discworld. But hey, you've gotta love it. I'd been working as a PI for a little over a month, and business was slow. Hiring an investigator to look into your business requires trust, and the amount of trust in Ankh-Morpork wouldn't fill a cup. And it's a small cup I'm talking about. Sure, people trust that you don't get on the wrong side of the patrician. People trust that you don't walk into the shades alone. People trust that the Assassin's Guild will fulfill their contracts or double your money back. Yeah, people even trust death. Just don't ask them to trust their mothers.
Mr. Luton?
If I'm not, I should fire the guy who painted the door.
So this is what a private investigator looks like. I expected someone more heroic.
Heroism costs extra. What can I do for you, Miss...
Mrs., actually. And the name is Carlotta.
Okay, Mrs. Actually. Carlotta it is. What's a girl like you doing out on a night like this?
I want to hire you, Mr. Luton.
Please call me Luton. Mr. sounds so formal.
How much do you charge for a simple investigation?
I don't know. I've never had a simple investigation. A tricky one is 20 a day.
I'll give you 200 in advance, plus expenses.
For 200, I guess I should treat you with some respect.
Oh, I wouldn't ask a guy like you to attempt the impossible.
What's the case?
I want you to find a man named Mundy.
Why do you want to find Mundy?
Do you know him?
No. And this case will go a lot faster if you let me ask the questions.
You like to be in control, don't you, Luton?
If you don't pull the strings, then you're the puppet. Tell me about you and Mundy.
I've been a lonely woman, Luton.
You amaze me.
Be surprised.
Shocked, maybe, but not surprised.
Mundy is my lover, Luton. Or used to be. He's been away for a while, over in Sort. He came back to Ankh-Morpork a couple of days ago on the Milka, but he didn't come to see me. I think he may be having an affair. You're wondering whether my husband knows about it.
Actually, I was wondering when you were going to give me the money.
My husband passed away several years ago.
I hope the poor guy was smiling at the time. Is there anything you can tell me about Mundy that might help me find him?
He's got blue eyes, brown hair, and a black heart. You'd like him.
Has he got any friends in Ankh-Morpork?
Does anyone?
How tall is he?
I don't know. I don't picture him standing up.
What was Mundy's business in Sort?
I don't know. I never asked about his work, and he never told me.
Must be a very straightforward relationship.
As simple as they come.
Where can I find the ship he came in on?
Down at the wharf.
Have you been there yourself?
I avoid places like that. Women and seamen.
Forget I asked. This is a bad neighborhood for you to come into alone, Carlotta.
I can take care of myself.
I believe you.
Good. Trust is important.
I said I believed you. I never said I trusted you.
Don't you like me, Luton?
I like a lot of things. I like dogs, but I wouldn't trust one not to bite me.
I won't bite.
Shame. I haven't been bitten in a long while. I'd better get started on your case. Where can I contact you?
I'll be in touch. Be seeing you, Luton.
I hoped I would see her again, because she still hadn't paid me. Still, it wasn't every day that a beautiful woman offered me a case. Frankly, it wasn't often that anybody offered me a case. And 200 would certainly help pay the rent, if I had anything left over from my bar bill.
As I was going to say that I've never woken up dead before is basically what sold the game for me forever. I forgot to say earlier that I've never played this game in English before. I played it in the French version in the 90s. So yeah, the memory I have of Luton's voice in French, I think I prefer it to the current to the original voice, but whatever. It doesn't matter too much. Okay. Because in this game we have a clue thing.
Carlotta had hired me to track down Mundy. At the beginning, that was pretty much all I knew about him.
I need to fix this subtitle speed. Is that is that better?
Carlotta had hired me to track down Mundy. At the beginning, that was
okay.
pretty much all I knew about him.
Apologies for that.
The Milka was the tramp schooner that Mundy had come in on, and I knew it was berthed at the wharf.
So we have a few of these pages. So this is a notebook that will keep clue in, and this is the main mechanism of interaction rather than items. We do also have an inventory. It's just much less useful in this video game.
Beautiful, seductive, and dangerous. Carlotta was worth a stare. She was trouble.
Okay. Also there's a fast travel mechanics here. We can see the cases, we can see the suspects. So for now we're interested in that, I think. And our inventory is just a purse.
My purse might not have been my most valued possession, but I sure felt happier when it was full than when it was empty.
Incredible, isn't it?
Sapient pearwood comes from a plant so magical that it is totally impervious to all forms of magic, and so valuable that thieves have cut each other's throats to own it. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford a desk made out of it, so I made do with pine. It's a nice desk, though.
Something you can't see is that I actually have two cursors. There's a little bug that makes the cursor that you see is not on my actual mouse cursor, and it's a bit difficult, but whatever.
I'd purchased the imp-powered coffee bean machine from Cut-Me-Own-Throat Dibbler, the man whose name was the byword for quality. With CMOT Dibbler, you could say bye to quality. I'll say this for the ICBM. It made coffee strong enough to blow your head off. On the downside, the imp tended to use most of the beans to fuel its own addiction. Some days the poor thing was so jittery the coffee machine would vibrate off the shelf. Nothing like a cup of imp-made coffee to make me jittery and paranoid. I could hardly carry the desk around. I think we could safely say that the door to my office was just for getting in and out of my office. A lot of strange things had happened to me since becoming a private investigator, but the weirdest was the irrepressible sensation that the most important thing for me to own as a PI was a door with my name painted on the glass. Some mysteries are best left unsolved, I guess.
Controls, by the way, are right click to look, double click to interact, click to move, which is the same as the Discord's, the other Discord games.
All I had to do was track down Mundy and tell Carlotta where he was. I had purchased a large indexed scroll rack to keep track of all the cases I was going to handle. The Mundy case made it 2.
Because then we have the office, not that, not that. The wharf here, is that the only thing? I think things get illuminated when they're accessible. So I think that might be it. So let's go to the wharf.
The wharf was on the upmarket side of the river in the city of Ankh. The Moorpork docks on the other side of the river were not a place wise travelers disembarked at. But then again, wise travelers tried to avoid Ankh-Moorpork altogether. But if you traveled a lot, it was hard to miss, like malaria.
Like malaria. Okay.
The Milka was a tramp schooner, one of the many ramshackle ships that plied their trade around the Circle Sea. From the looks of it, it should have sunk years ago. Even the rats thought twice before boarding it.
Charming, eh?
The first mate didn't look particularly willing to let people aboard.
Double click for instant travel as well.
I couldn't tell what the crates contained, and frankly, I didn't much care. Outgoing cargo wasn't going to tell me much. I needed to know whether Mundy had brought something with him. I couldn't carry the crates even if I wanted to. The sailor was busy loading the ship, and I decided not to disturb him.
Really?
Something told me I wasn't going to learn anything useful from the sailor.
Okay. Am I missing someone? As far as I can see, I've done everything. Oh, bollard.
Along the length of the wharf were hundreds of posts for mooring ships to. It seemed like a lot of bollards to me.
That's just...
What did I need bollards for? It wasn't like I could move them anyway.
That was just... It's completely gratuitous. This thing exists only for this silly fun. I don't... Okay, did I miss something else to do? Crates. Sailor. Oh, here. I couldn't see the chat.
The first mate wasn't as hostile as I might have expected, but he wasn't particularly helpful either. Are you the first mate?
Arr! Shiver me timbers! Hoist the main brace!
Let's start again. Are you the first mate?
Aye, that I be.
You're not going to get any money off me, so you can drop the fake accent.
Sorry, you know how it is. Some people are stupid enough to fall for that sort of thing. What can I do?
Side note, another thing, not only is it night and raining, but it's also told in the past tense.
When do you sail?
As soon as we've got her loaded.
How much is passage?
Where are you looking to go?
I don't know. Sort, perhaps.
We've just come from there. It'll be a long time before we get there again.
Did you bring any passengers?
Sure. We always try to take a couple of passengers. They pay their way, and if there's a big storm, they are very useful as to sacrifice to the angry sea gods. Of course, we tell people they were washed over the side.
What were the passengers on the last voyage like?
There were 3 of them. One of them seemed alright, but the other 2, I don't know about them. There was something strange about them.
More clues, eh?
Do you sacrifice passengers often?
No, the captain doesn't like it. He says it's bad for business. I said that we were advertising ourselves as offering an exciting tour of the Circle Sea. But he pointed out that most people would expect the tour to be above the water. If I'd had my way, we'd have thrown some people off the last voyage.
Bad omens?
The whole crew had a bad feeling of dread from the moment we set off.
Looking at the state of the ship, that doesn't come as a surprise. What was strange about these passengers?
I don't know. One of them seemed kind of foreign. I mean, more foreign than most.
The first mate hadn't been able to tell me much about the other passengers on the Milka, but he did know that there was something distinctly foreign about one of them.
He did.
This is the Milka, isn't it?
That's what it says on the prow.
It's impossible to read anything written on that hull.
Just because you can't read it doesn't mean it isn't there. Reality is subjective after all.
Don't get all existential with me.
It was more ontological than existential.
That's a really bad habit you've got there.
What? Oh, sorry. I picked up a bad case of philosophy in Ephoebe a couple of years ago, and I haven't been able to get rid of it since. Just can't seem to shake it off. Normal as anything one minute. Next moment, I'm wondering if anything can truly be said to exist. A bit of a drawback when you're supposed to be navigating.
Okay, assuming the existence of an objective shared universe, is this the Milka?
Yes.
Can I have a look on board?
No.
That better not be some kind of philosophical objection.
No one gets on board without Captain Jenkins' permission.
Where is the captain?
I don't know. But you could try the Cafe Ankh. He usually goes there when he's in Ankh-Morpork. If it exists, of course.
Oh no. Really? Oh, that would be so tragic. No, don't do that to me. Please. Okay.
The Milka was the tramp schooner that Mundy had come in on, and I knew it was berthed at the wharf. Carlotta had hired me to track. At the beginning, that was pretty much all I knew about him. Was there a man named Mundy on the last voyage?
It's funny you should ask that. You're the second person today to have an interest in Mundy.
Who was the first?
A dwarf. He didn't give his name. I don't think he was from round here, though.
What about Mundy? What was he like?
I don't pry into the passengers' business, but for a man who came on board pretty happy, he seemed pretty unsettled when he left. Not that I blame him. Something was definitely amiss on this last voyage.
Do you know where he is now?
Mundy? No. Like I said, I don't pry into passengers' business.
Unless you actually look through their luggage after they've been washed over the side.
Hey, what are you inferring?
I'm not inferring anything. I'm implying that you might have had a look at their luggage at one point.
If I had, I certainly wouldn't admit it to you.
Which either means you didn't look, or you didn't find anything of interest.
You better watch your steps, son. It's not good to make accusations like that.
Don't worry. Anything we discuss is strictly between you, me, and anyone else I tell.
Alright, so here we go. This game's not particularly difficult, as I was saying, but I really love the humor of it and the general vibes. That's why we're playing it today, and that's why I'm so happy.
The first mate had said that a dwarf had been asking about Mundy before I had. That raised my suspicions that there was more going on than Carlotta was telling me. Since that was who I'd learned about that from in the first place, I didn't feel I had much to gain by going over old ground.
Great. Do you see that? So... Okay, so here's something. I'm playing this on a Windows virtual machine. I've seen some people manage to play it on Linux, but I haven't managed. I just, this was the only way I found. Okay then, we're off. Ali, let's say goodbye.
Still here?
Not for...
Well, safe voyage, if that's possible.
Okay, so now we have a new location. There's the bar over here, Cafe Ankh. Okay, there's a bunch of things we can see here. Start here, maybe? Interesting. That'd be a
The
golem.
golem was loading wine barrels onto the cart, calmly and diligently. I would have pitied it, but there didn't seem much point. It was just magically animated clay. A good-looking crowbar. It looked like it had a good heft, too. I figured the golem wouldn't notice that the crowbar had gone missing. Not that I'm saying it didn't need it, just that I'd figured I'd get away with stealing it. The cart was being loaded with barrels of wine. The cart was being loaded. Apart from the wine, I can't say I was interested. I decided not to try stealing the wine barrels. I guess I never really noticed that the Cafe Ankh had a wine cellar before. Perhaps if they'd run out of drinks at the bar, I'd have been more inclined to investigate. I knew full well that I wouldn't be able to get down there without permission and the right key.
Okay, I wanted to interact with the golem, but here we go. That worked.
There was no use trying to talk to the golem. It couldn't speak.
Fair enough. Every time I leave, this barrel is removed and gets added back. Yeah, it's funny. Anyway, let's go to the cafe.
You can't recall if the whiskey knocked you flat, or if everything was a blur when you met her. All that you remember are the tunes of a vampire, a melancholy tune about impending doom. I'll fetch your tankard, fill it to the brim. A cask of stale, broken drum ale. Wondering how long till you meet again on the bank of the Tang. Too much to drink, you could barely even think. Too much bear hug. I thought I told you never to play that song again. Oh, sorry, Mr. Luton. It's just I wasn't expecting you to call by tonight, and... You weren't expecting me? It's only been 8 years, Samael. I guess my memory ain't what it used to be. I don't know why Samael put up with my temper. He could have broken every bone in my body if he'd wanted to, but that's what made him special, I guess. That he'd take almost any kind of abuse from the clientele, and he'd still be there at the piano, playing better than anyone else in Ankh-Morpork.
Sorry, no promotion in chat. Yeah, also Samuel is building onto some reference. If you already found it, good. I'll point it out when it comes.
The pianist, Samael, was one of Cafe Ankh's greatest assets. Not only was he a first-rate musician, but there was something about him that made you think it'd be a bad idea to start any trouble. I decided not to disturb Samael while he was working.
So he's a pianist and a bouncer at the same time. Ain't that great? Here is Nobby. He was already in Discord 2, if you remember, huh? And we're in Discord 1 as
My
well.
old friend Nobby from the Watch. I hadn't spoken to him in ages.
Was he in Discord 1? No, he wasn't in Discord 1, just 2.
Hello, Luton. How you been keeping? I've been worse. Of course, I've been better, too. And I've been a hell of a lot better and not much worse. That's good, isn't it? Don't worry. If Commander Vimes sees us together, I'll tell him I made you talk to me.
It's not that I don't like you, Luton. I mean, we was friends and all. But it's just... well...
It's just he'd bite your head off if he saw you talking to me.
he'd go spare.
How you been keeping, Nobby? How's the rest of the watch?
Not so bad, Luton. Been keeping myself busy. Been working with Sergeant Colon.
How is old fatty Colon?
Still fat. I'll tell him I saw you.
No, you won't.
Okay, so maybe I won't. I was just being trite.
Polite.
Yeah, that's the one.
I guess I never really understood why it was that you didn't get kicked out as well, Nobby.
Me? I ain't never done nothing wrong.
Don't give me that, Nobby. When you were serving as quartermaster under the Duke of Pseudopolis, it was widely known that several items from the stores were found in your kit.
That was all above board. I had all the paperwork for him.
Your kit at the time consisted of 2 warehouses. I just think Vimes had a grudge against me.
Luton, I know you're my friend and all, but you took a bribe.
Are you trying to tell me you never took a bribe?
Never.
The ham from Harga's House of Ribs?
Evidence.
The pocket clock from the Suicide in the Shades?
I wanted something to remember him by.
The money in the petty cash box?
Mislaid by someone.
Misappropriated by you.
I never misanthropated anything.
I just want to understand why it was that you could get away with all your petty theft, and I couldn't get away with one act of weakness.
Well, you see,
Just say it, Nobby. I'm not gonna hold it against you.
well, I reckon Mr. Vimes thinks that a bit of petty theft ain't something to get excited about. I ain't admitting anything, mark you. Nothing's ever been proved. Got compared to some of the stuff that goes on in this city. But someone who's taken a bribe, well, that's like allowing the rich to avoid justice.
That wasn't why I did it.
I know. But you know Vimes. Vimes. Vimes.
Great.
Vimes.
Well, I guess the playthrough will have a few hitches.
Yeah, I know Vimes all right. What's Vimes up to these days?
He got married.
Married? He was only ever married to his job.
Nah, straight up. He married into nobility.
Old Stoneface in the nobility. That'd drive him crazy.
Well, he's sort of nobility himself now.
What?
They made him commander of the watch. And we got a great new premises down on Pseudopolis Yard. They're full of paintings and vases and all sorts.
Full?
Well, maybe not as full as when we moved in, but pretty full.
I'll have to call round sometime.
Yeah, that'd be good. We got a lot more members in the watch these days. And we got a new dartboard.
Life in the fast lane, huh? Do you seriously think it's a good idea for me to call around? I mean, Vimes isn't gonna like it.
Whatever you may think about him, he's loyal to his job. I can't say he'll welcome you with open arms, but he won't stop you.
So in the book, Vimes is married to, gets married to the Lady Ram, whatever, the dragon lady from Discworld 2. If you remember her, that's who he marries.
Do you know anything about some passengers that came into town by ship a few days ago?
That's not much to go on.
You're a corporal in the watch. You're supposed to have a keen, insightful mind.
They brought that regulation in after I joined.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
Can't this wait till I get back to the yard? I'm off duty.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
I'm not getting drawn into anything while I'm off. Wait till I'm...
Okay.
Do you know anything about a man named Mundy?
I'm not getting drawn... Wait.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Milka? It arrived in town a short time ago.
How long ago?
3 days.
That's strange. Why? Well, there's been a string of odd murders in the last 3 days.
What do you mean, odd? I mean, this is Ankh-Morpork we're talking about.
I'm not sure I should discuss the details with a pavilion.
A civilian, Nobby. How much have you had to drink?
I'm as sober as the day I was born.
That's a frightening thought.
Uh-oh. Oh, that would fine. Mysteries, no murders. Is that a case? No, it's an extra. It's an extra category. Oh, great.
Since that was who I'd learned about,
Okay.
Nobby had told me that there were some mysterious murders in Ankh-Morpork in the last few days.
Yeah, the game is not very
I'll
fast-paced.
catch you later, Nobby. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. What's that supposed to mean?
Well, don't get caught doing anything I wouldn't do.
Ooh, down. Okay. There will be someone here at some point, I assume.
My old friend, the bar. I was tempted to order a drink, but I was working. I suppressed the urge to get myself a drink, although I could really have used one. Are you Captain Jenkins?
That depends on who's asking.
Don't play games. I'm just after a few answers.
That song really put you in a bad mood, didn't it?
If you're trying to get me angry, it's working.
No need to get upset. You need to drink more and think less.
If I drank any more than I do now, I'd never think again.
That's the ticket.
Wow.
So, you're the captain of the Milka.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Ordinarily, I'd be happy being a captain of a fine ship like the Milka. But after this last voyage, I'm thinking of taking up farming.
Tough journey?
I don't want to talk about it.
What was so bad about the last voyage?
I told you I don't want to talk about it.
Sometimes it helps to talk about these things.
Why would I want to talk about it?
All right, let's put that another way. I want to talk about it, and the sooner I finish talking to you, the sooner you can get back to drinking.
By that logic, my best bet would be to just ignore you and carry on drinking.
I was never much good at logic. I did home economics at school. I was hoping you'd let me have a look around on the Milka.
I was hoping that I was gonna make enough money to be able to buy myself a harem of exotic dancers called Chantel. But it looks like we're both gonna be disappointed.
He wanted to have a harem of Chantels, like I don't know, 10 girls called Chantel. That is useless. Well, we can try bribe him, but
I suppressed the urge to ask for money. I was broke, sure, but I wasn't that desperate.
I meant it differently.
Do you know anything about the recent murders in Ankh-Morpork?
I know that there are always murders in Ankh-Morpork. See Ankh-Morpork and die, they say. Often in the same day.
That's not a very helpful answer.
It wasn't a very sensible question.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
There's no one I know.
On your last voyage, there were 3 passengers, right? Mundy and 2 others.
You tell me. You seem to know more about my ship than I do.
I just want to know what you can remember about them.
I remember that we picked them up in Ecclepon, and I know they had a lot of cargo. Oh, and one was a woman, and one was a man, I think.
You think he was a man?
There was something particularly foreign about him. I'm not sure what.
Where's Ecclepon?
Up near the hub. God's forsaken place. All there is to do there is drink and eat fish sandwiches with no tops on.
Sounds like a long way from the Circle C.
We got lost, all right. It's easy to mix up port and starboard when you've drunk too much port.
Are they still on board?
Nope, we dropped them in Ankh-Morpork. And before you ask, I have no idea what they were doing here. That's not my business.
I was beginning to realize that Captain Jenkins only had 2 questions to ask his passengers. Where are you going? And how much money have you got?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but it appears to me that the voice actors are British, which makes sense for a Pratchettty thingy. But they're trying to make an American accent, and it's not completely successful. It's pretty hard and to change accent, and I don't think they had a lot of coaching.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
On your last month,
I think there were.
Where's that? Sounds.
We got. It's easy to mix up.
Are they still on?
Nope. We dropped them in on. And before you ask, that's not.
I was beginning to realize that Captain Jenkins only had 2 questions to ask his passengers. Where are you going? And how much money have you got?
Yeah, I had to listen to that again because I was listening to how he was saying it instead of what he was saying. A bad habit of mine. I sometimes get entranced by accents. We are looking for Mindy.
The Milka looks like a good ship.
You know nothing about ships, do you? She looks like exactly what she is. A run-down tramp schooner with no future.
Any chance I could look around her anyway?
All I want to do is get the cargo loaded and get out of this god's-forsaken city. I don't need people snooping around on board.
Maybe we can sneak in then through one of the crates, now that we have a crowbar.
I understand you are carrying a man named Mundy on your ship.
What's it to you?
I was hoping to find him.
Owes you money, does he?
No, he's an old friend.
Him? You must think I'm as drunk as I look.
Aren't you?
Well, okay, so maybe I am. What did you want to know?
Where is he now?
I've no idea. We picked him up in Sort a couple of weeks ago and we brought him here. That's about all I want to know about him.
Did he say what he was coming to Ankh-Morpork for?
I think he said he was meeting someone.
Who?
Now, I can barely remember my own name, let alone something I overheard through a doorway last week.
I think that's about it. People say no again.
Is there any way I can...
Is there any way I can persuade you to go away?
Okay. Let's try and see whether we can... I was a bit trod, but... Ooh, the yard. So let's go there.
I headed over to Pseudopolis Yard, but Nobby wasn't there yet. I decided to come back later.
Okay, let's come back later. The sailor is not here anymore. Can I, so what's the button again? That one, okay.
Perhaps the single crate would be a better choice.
Oh, you're... That is just completely gratuitous. It's terrible game design, but at the same time it's extremely funny, so... Here you go.
I didn't much like being jammed into a crate and loaded onto the ship, but I could think of worse fates. Like being jammed into a crate full of rats and loaded onto the ship. What's your name then, little fellow? The hold was dark and dank, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone.
The pattern about these series is you've seen me solve puzzles that I genuinely didn't remember. But on the other hand, the reason why I solved these puzzles that applied some methods of reasoning taught to me by these very puzzles years in the past. Okay, so we can go there and we can go there. And there's a label. Okay.
The hold was full of crates for the outgoing voyage. They were of little interest to me.
Also, like, I would be really worried if I was sailing a ship that had that much water in it, in its hold.
The crates were too heavy for me to carry, even if I wanted to.
Flotsam.
The bilge water was littered with flotsam that looked like the remains of a smashed crate. It was just flotsam.
There's flotsam and jetsam, and I don't remember which is which.
I thought I could see a label amongst the wreckage. I pulled the label out of the wreckage. It had writing on it that I couldn't understand.
It kind of looks like a code, doesn't it?
I'd pulled the label out of the flotsam in the bilge water of the Milka.
I don't know what bilge water is. Is there a rat here?
It looked lived in. The question was, by what?
Excellent question, yeah.
There was nothing of value in the debris.
Really? I guess it's going to be useful at some point. Okay, so we're on the ship. We can go back down, and there's a way here. And that seems to be the only thing we can do. Oh, river ank. Hey, nice. Let's have a look. But don't drink it.
The River Ankh, the mighty river which gave Ankh-Morpork its characteristic stench. Even before it entered the city, it was already slow and heavy with the silt of the stow plains. By the time it reached the seaward side, even an agnostic could walk across it. I hadn't given much thought to how I was going to get off the Milka. If I'd known what I had to do, I would never have gone on board in the first place.
What? I didn't mean to. That was not the point. What? I can't go back up? Oh.
The sailor was busy loading the ship.
Oh. Oh. Also, there was no cutscene. So we can't. There was another thing I could do in this ship, and I couldn't do it. So let's say the game doesn't go. Well, it's okay. So we have that. So I guess maybe that advanced the story, and maybe there's something to do here. Here we go. So now we can interrogate him all over again. There doesn't seem to be anything else to do in the room. There's a bell, there's Nobby, there's Luton. Can I go up? Asshole? Apparently not. Okay. So we can't. Okay, let's look at the bell. Oh no, the bell.
There was an ordinary bell on the reception desk. There was something about it that really made you want to strike it.
Well, there's then.
I really wanted to ring the bell, but given that Nobby was right in front of me, it would just have wound him up.
Sounds like a
You
plan.
could say this about Nobby. Deep down, he was a good man. Well, deep down, he was probably a man. Good might be stretching it a bit. Hello again, Nobby.
Hello, Luton.
Did I disturb you?
No. What made you think that?
Well, there appears to be smoke coming from your ear.
Oh, that, well, I've been working hard, you see.
Working so hard that your ears have caught fire. Don't worry about it, Nobby. It's not like I'm going to report you.
I have been working, see?
Oh, sure. I never doubted it for a second. How's work treating you then?
Not so bad, Luton. I've been busy though. Rushed off my feet.
Yeah, I can tell. Can you read this?
Give me a break, Luton. I don't know everything.
Do you know anything about a man named Mundy?
Never heard of him.
Also, like, not only the combinatorics is not very high, but you kind of get to brute force pretty much everything because you have to go through the conversation
Have you learned anything about the Milka?
just for fun, anyway.
Yeah, not as such, no.
You go to great lengths to conceal how little work you do, don't you?
Hey,
That's all contacts.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
never heard of him.
Not really surprised.
I don't suppose you've investigated the passengers on the Milka, have you?
Of course I have.
Sorry, but you're not the most, diligent of investigators.
I work as hard as any man on my rank.
You're the only man of your rank. There's 3 dwarfs, 2 troll, a woman and a zombie with the same rank as you, but you're the only human male. I know you're human because you carry a bit of paper to prove it, signed by the midwife. The maleness, I'll take that on trust.
Do you want me to help you or not?
What have you got?
Well, I interviewed one of the passengers.
What did you learn?
That's official watch business.
You didn't learn anything, did you?
Not as such, no.
Any chance I could interview this passenger?
I don't see why not. She's down in the Cafe Ankh now.
Well, that's something, I guess.
Good.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Any word on these murders?
Nothing yet. But our top investigators are working on the case 24 hours a day.
Nobby?
Yeah?
Are you one of those crack investigators?
Yeah? Why?
Never mind. Just a thought.
Okay, so I guess we just go to the cafe. If I find the exit, here we go.
The troll stepped out of the shadows like light was too intimidated to illuminate him. He seemed like the quiet sort, but you got the feeling that if you stepped out of line, you'd get your teeth kicked down your throat. For that matter, he could kick your throat down your chest and your chest through your legs. But I was hoping it wouldn't come to that, because none of my clothes would fit.
Find Therma.
Sorry, friend, I don't understand.
Find Therma.
You want me to find Therma? Is that it? Well, what is it? A person? A thing? Look, if we're going to carry out a conversation, it'd help for you to talk.
Find Therma.
Okay, find Therma. What's your name, friend? There was something about a troll that big that made you want to call him friend.
Malachite. Find Therma. You've got to find her.
I wasn't about to argue with a troll that could twist my head off and use it as a cocktail onion. Okay, friend, what can you tell me about her? Any suggestions of where I should start looking?
Used to sing at the Octarine Ballad. Find Therma. Got to find Therma.
How can I contact you?
Find Therma.
That was all he said. I guess he wasn't very bright. But then there's things under damp logs that are brighter than most trolls.
I have played a character named Malachite after this troll for years as an Octane Parrot, but we'll see that later. If you don't know about the Discworld, Octarine is the 8th color of the rainbow. I think it's supposed to be invisible to most, only visible to those who do magic. It's the color of magic, also 8 is the number of magic in the Discworld. There's a character in one of the early books that must be a sorcerer or something like that. He's an 8th son of an 8th son. I mean, the number 8 comes back in the mythology quite a bit. Anyway, we're going to this bar thing. Where is it? Cafe Yonk, thank you. Let's see who's in that corner then. I know who it is. It's whatever. I remember.
You can't recall if the whiskey knocked you flat, or if everything was a... I thought I told you never to Ilsa. I thought I would never see her again. I prayed that I'd never see her again. But either the gods didn't listen, or they were having a laugh at my expense. Knowing the gods of the Discworld, I had a pretty good idea which. Play it again, Sam.
Here we go.
You know what? No one's ever going to believe you said that. Hello, Ilsa. How long's it been?
Too long.
That's funny. I was thinking that it wasn't long enough.
Aren't you pleased to see me?
Sure. Like a jellyfish praying for the tide to come in.
What's that supposed to mean?
If I always knew what I meant, I'd be a genius.
Back then, you always knew what to say.
I still know what to say. I just choose not to.
You're getting a big kick out of making me feel cheap, aren't you? Well, maybe I had it coming.
Hey, don't take my side. You'll take all the fun out of it.
Yeah, so play it again, Sam, as a line from Casablanca. In a very similar circumstance to this too, anyway. And Humphrey Bogart say it, just for the record.
I spent years rehearsing what I'd say if I saw you again. What I'd ask you. I tried to imagine what you'd say.
But now I'm here. You can't think of anything to say?
Now you're here, and I just want to slap you. Just once. Across the cheek.
What will that prove?
That I still haven't forgiven you.
You're not making this easy, Luton.
Did you think I would? Did you think I'd just come bouncing up to you like a trained puppy? Maybe I'd wag my tail and wait for you to throw me a stick. Well, I'm never going to be another woman's dog for as long as I live.
That's cruel.
Not as cruel as the day you left me. What made you ask for that song?
I was feeling sentimental.
It's good to know that you still remember me.
How could I forget?
I don't know. But you managed to leave. I figured you'd probably manage to forget as well.
Never.
I tried to forget you. I tried to forget the day you left. I tried to forget the good times. I tried to drown your memory in cheap whiskey.
And did you forget?
I don't remember.
I still remember you. That's what the song means to me. It's everything that's good about our time together.
You got lucky, Elsa. You got all the good memories, and I got all the bad.
It didn't have to be like that.
It's always like that.
Optimist, eh?
I suppose you have some explanation for what you did. Some pat excuse that'll make everything all right.
There's no excuse for what I did.
At least we agree on one thing.
Why do you hate me so much?
Because I had everything when I had you. And when you left, you took everything with you. It's easy to hate someone who took it all away from you.
It hurts to hear you talk like this.
Good.
Wow. I didn't remember that was going so hard.
Do you know a troll by the name of Malachite?
I've not met them. Sorry.
That's funny to go all business all of a sudden.
Do you know anyone named Therma?
I've not met them. Sorry.
Have you met a man named Mundy?
Yes, there was a man named Mundy on the ship we came in on. He kept himself to himself mostly.
What can you tell me about him?
He seemed nervous.
Anything else?
I remember him going down to the cargo hold at one point. He looked really shifty, as if he was hiding something.
Is that it?
That's all I can think of.
So, you came in on the Milka, did you?
Yes.
Alone?
No, I came with a companion.
It figures.
What?
Women like you are never alone.
I've been alone.
You know nothing about loneliness. You know nothing about what it's like to not know why you've been abandoned. You don't know what it's like to watch your career slip away because the one thing you care about has been taken from you. You don't know what it's like to spend years going into restaurants and asking for a table for one.
You don't eat in restaurants.
Okay, but if I did, that's what I'd ask for.
Why did you ask about the Milka?
You came aboard in Ecclepon, right? With a man.
Yes, his name's Two Conkers. How did you know?
It's my job to know.
You're being paid to find out where people board ships?
No, I'm a private investigator.
Two conkers. So these are the mysterious things. Okay, they've been replaced. Also, Malachite and Therma are
The big troll had come up to me out of nowhere and asked me to find Therma. He certainly wasn't the brightest troll I'd met.
Let's go to cases, Therma case, and you see the same two.
At the start, all I knew about the mysterious Therma was that Malachite wanted me to find her, and that she used to sing at the Octarine Parrot.
It's exactly how I would organize data in a computer, but of course the notebook makes a weird metaphor for it. Okay, so let's...
Ilsa had told me. For now... Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
I'm sorry, Luton. I don't know anything about that.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
I've not met them. Sorry.
Okay, so all we got from this was two conkers. Maybe you can ask about the murders.
Tell me one thing, Ilsa. Are you involved in these murders?
What?
The murders. They started when you arrived in town.
I can't believe that you would think such a thing. That's terrible. I mean, I know I've done some bad things, but I've never killed anyone in all my life.
Just checking.
I realize I think she's supposed to be French. I mean, to have a French accent. It's not obvious. At first I thought that was some kind of Russian accent or something like that. But it wasn't. Yeah, I think we've done everything. That's probably not a good idea to show her the note, but there's no bad ideas in this
Can you
game.
read this?
Yes, it says Pier 5.
What language?
Agatean.
How do you know an obscure language like that?
Actually, Two Conkers is from the counterweight continent. I learned it from him.
I thought that people weren't allowed to leave the Agatean Empire.
Oh, things have freed up these days.
I'd be careful who you tell about Two Conkers, Ilsa.
Why?
People can be funny about foreigners, and there's always been rumors about the Empire. They say they use powerful magic there. The last time one of them arrived here, the city got burned down.
Two Conkers isn't going to burn the city down.
You know that, and I know that. But the average man on the street doesn't know that. They see the unknown as a threat.
Why? Two Conkers is harmless. No one's that stupid.
Let me let you in on a little-known secret. You know how stupid the average person is?
I think so, yes.
Well, statistically, half of them are even dumber than that.
Okay, so that must be pier number 5. And it was a good idea to show her the note.
Hello again.
Hello yourself.
So, you're the
Ordinarily,
Okay, we had all that. Sam is still playing. He's playing it again. So... That's pier number 5. There's the Octarine parrot to investigate as well. But let's follow up here first.
The watchman had a look of mad dedication about him. It was the kind of look that could only be achieved by someone whose job was so mind-numbingly tedious that their only pleasure came from being blisteringly unhelpful to everyone who came along.
Okay. Doors, crates, further thingies.
I take it you're the watchman for this warehouse?
Wow, you're sharp. People never work that out. I mean, there are so many reasons that I might want to be out here on a pier in the middle of nowhere, but you went straight to the fact that I'm a watchman. Well done.
That's a real talent you've got there. It usually takes me much longer to take a dislike for someone. Let me guess. Not only are you the watchman for this warehouse, but you are so bored that anyone who comes along is a target for abuse.
You're good, I'll give you that. Sharp as a pancake. What brings you here?
Research. I'm on an investigation.
You with the watch?
No, I work alone.
So you're a criminal.
This is Ankh-Morpork. We're all guilty of something.
I'm not. Pure as the driven snow.
Oh, yeah? Well, you've just directly violated the patrician's laws about groundless metaphor.
What?
Well, can you prove to me that you're as pure as snow?
Ah, but that wasn't a metaphor. That was a simile.
Because, of course, the patrician is going to be swayed by a pedantic defense like that.
I guess you have a point.
Okay. Let's start with the dwarf. He seems to be the most likely.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
That's nothing to do with me.
Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
Sorry, I don't get to socialize much with this job. It's the night work, you know.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
Sorry, I don't...
It doesn't seem like we're getting a lot out of this, eh?
Heard of the Milka?
Sure, put it in my coffee,
It's a ship.
Yeah, I know. Just winding you up.
Well, I'm already about as tightly wound as I'm going to get. Unless you were planning to use me as an alarm clock, I'd start thinking about being cooperative.
Where's the fun in that?
The Milka?
Oh, yeah. All I can tell you is that they unloaded their cargo here.
What was their cargo?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that. That'd be violating Watchman cargo confidentiality.
There's no such thing.
Oh, all right. I just don't want to tell you then. Satisfied?
Ecstatic.
The watchman speaks so slowly.
When I gave Mundy's description to the watchman, he became animated. Well, not that animated, but more animated than he had been.
That's the one. He tried to break into the warehouse the other night.
You're sure?
Or maybe I just like stringing you along for fun.
What happened?
I scared him off. I'd like to know where he is now, though. It doesn't look good to have people get away with breaking into a place like this. Bad for our reputation.
Oh, I'm sure. Because everyone respects you, and this would just put a total stop to all those dinner party invitations.
Oi, watch it.
Yeah, so we have a picture here. At some point, Mundy was seen in the cargo, like he was hiding something, and he couldn't retrieve it before it was unloaded. So now the something he was carrying or hiding is here in PF5. Not sure why we have a label on it, but whatever. Somewhere around here is something that Mundi's looking for. Really, I kind
I've
of
got a few more.
want to see the goodbye for him.
That's lucky.
I have a feeling I'll see you later.
I can't wait.
Okay.
If it wasn't for the watchman, I could probably get in through the doors. As it was, I needed another plan.
No shit.
The doors led into the warehouse itself, but the watchman wasn't about to let me in. I couldn't tell what the crates contained, and frankly, I didn't much care. I couldn't carry the crates even if I wanted to.
Let's go there. I think there's not... Oh, skylight here. There's something. And the river Ankh. That is all, is it? Looks like it's all.
The skylight sat on the roof, an inviting alternative entrance.
If you can jump that high.
I wasn't the disc's greatest climber, and the warehouse wasn't the easiest building to scale. I was going to need some help.
Yeah. We don't have the tools yet. But okay. We have a picture of what's going on.
The River Ankh. Probably the only river in the universe on which you could chalk the outline of a corpse. I'd already had to dive onto the Ankh once. I wasn't about to do it again.
Was there a corpse chalked on the River Ankh in one of the previous Discworld? Maybe it's in this one that it happens. Maybe it doesn't happen. He just talks about it. Okay, so the Octarian parrot. That seems like it's a troll. I remember this character.
I couldn't imagine who would pay attention to the notices in a seedy dive like the parrot, but I guess they were of interest to someone. Come and see the greatest historical tragedy ever told, Antilogy and Cleffatara, Hwell's masterpiece as 'twas meant to be performed by actors. Eat at Harga's House of Ribs, all you can gobble for $1, menu available. Famous wherever huge appetites gather and mountainous stomachs rumble. The amazing panacea that cures all known ills. Cut me own throat dibblers, genuine authentic soggy Mountain Dew. Guaranteed to cure all problems or your money back. Ah, there's some small print. Guarantee will not be honored.
Okay, that's not the best dibbler thing.
Come and see the greatest historic Eat at Harg.
The stage. Let's talk to the person.
The bartender was a half-elf called Mankin, and I knew he wouldn't appreciate someone coming into his place and asking questions. Fortunately, I didn't care what he appreciated. The bar looked almost as appealing as every other bar in town to me, but the drinks didn't exactly fill you with confidence. If I could have taken the bar with me, believe me, I would.
Oh, I believe you. I guess.
Can I help you?
You could sell me a drink.
What's your poison?
I'd prefer whiskey straight with a whiskey chaser.
You didn't come here to drink, did you?
Well, I didn't come here for the sparkling conversation. Most of the customers go squeak, squeak. This seems like a nice place.
No, it doesn't. It seems like what it is. A wretched hive of scum and villainy.
It's tough to get to the top in that field. You could have that on a sign outside. Come to the Octarian Parrot, the most wretched hive of scum and villainy this side of the Ankh.
Are you being funny?
Apparently not.
You look a little nervous.
I can't shake the feeling that sooner or later someone is going to get their arm cut off.
So, I I wasn't aware of this one, but a Richard Hivos common villainy is a Star Wars reference. Episode 4, The New Hope, A New Hope, the first Star Wars ever. They tell that about the cantina they go in or something. Something.
Have you always owned the parrot?
No, it used to be a troll bar. I took over the place after the riots.
Did you keep any of the staff?
Sure, I kept anyone who wanted to stay, and wasn't too badly injured by the riots. But there's something about a group of rioting trolls that makes people reluctant to walk back into a place.
Or indeed unable? Did you keep any singers on the staff?
Only Sapphire.
It's not often I see a half-elf bartender.
Be honest, it's not often you see a half-elf.
Okay, you got me. What's the deal?
I don't like to talk about it.
I thought elves were supposed to be irrepressibly likable, so that they can get away with whatever acts of cruelty they want, like cats.
Well, I'm not an elf, alright?
That's the problem, isn't it? Everyone can see that you've got elf blood in you, but you've got none of the advantages. All you get is people's prejudice.
I don't like your manner.
I'm not selling it. Tell me about Sapphire.
Why don't you just talk to her yourself? Just don't bother her while she's working, alright?
Do you know someone named Therma? She used to sing here.
That'd be before my time. Sapphire might know. She knew all the troll singers from back before I took over the parrot.
Do you know of a troll who goes by the name of Malachite? Tall, terse, and dense, in both senses of the word.
He might have been one of the customers from when this used to be a troll bar, but I wouldn't know him if he was.
Yeah, we're not going to ask about everything. That would be a bit too much at the time, and I mean, we don't want to spend all night here. So
there was nothing I could do with the stage other than be glad I didn't have to perform on it. The stage where performers go up in front of a drunken crowd and sell their dignity to earn enough money to barely live on. It made me think that all the discs a stage and all the people players. Unfortunately, I felt like I'd been cast as an extra in my own life story. The troll singer was something else. I didn't know what, but she was something. Can we talk?
Certainly look that way. Move mouth, waggle tongue. Yeah, it all working.
My name's Luton.
Sapphire.
I could already tell that Sapphire was a troll who could look after herself. I knew I'd have to watch my step around her. It was quite a long way around her, too, and not the pretty way. You been a singer here long?
Long enough.
Long enough for what?
Long enough to want to be singing somewhere else.
Tell me about yourself.
I'd tell you about myself in 4 words. Big ideas, small results.
Why did you become a singer?
Aren't many jobs for a troll like me. And at least this one honest.
Is honesty important to you?
As much as anything else.
I'm guessing nothing much matters to you right now, Sapphire.
You catch on quick, Luton.
What do you know about the barman?
Mankin? Not much. Know that him a bigger loser than me.
How come?
He owns this place. At least Sapphire leave if Sapphire wants to.
Why don't you leave?
Where would I go? No place on disc for a troll like me. Spend our whole lives waiting for break. Just one chance to come our way that can seize in both hands tightly. But it never come. Or if it do, we don't recognize it. So we go back to grind of job we hate. And just keep on ticking each day, one step closer to end.
Do you do children's parties? Have you heard of a troll singer named Therma? She used to work here.
Huh, a troll singer named Therma.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Sure, Sapphire know her.
Know where I could find her?
Try morgue. She dead. Her house on Tallow Street collapsed while back now. We trolls may be tough, but we're not indestructible. Rumors say she was practicing her moves and knocked out load-bearing Beam. Brought whole place down on top of her. That's why Sapphire never practiced.
That's the only reason.
That, and I don't wanna.
Know where she's buried?
Sapphire don't know, but think they buried her under stage name Madame Lodestone.
Madame Lodestone?
Sure, on account of how attractive she was.
Okay.
I don't suppose you'd know a big troll called Malachite.
Sure, he troll a few words, 'cause he don't know that many.
Do you know where I could find him?
Sapphire not seen him in years, but you try Rodin's workshop. He used to hang out there.
Rodin.
So Therma performed here under the name Madame Lodestone.
Who are you, the narrator? I told you that already.
I'd heard that Therma sang under the stage name of Madame Lodestone. I'd also heard that she was dead. At the start, all I knew about the mysterious Therma. The big troll had come up to me out of nowhere. He certainly wasn't the brightest troll I'd met.
Fair enough. Little save. I'm a bit burnt by the time we lost on the previous game. So we have a new area we can go to. That's here, apparently. That is big and close to my office.
All I knew about the statue was that it was a work in progress. I didn't have any reason to steal Rodin's statue.
No. Who doesn't?
At first glance, Rodin looked like a typical sculptor. On closer examination, I decided he was much less. You wouldn't happen to be Rodin, would you?
I know that one. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Take your time.
Yes. Yes, I think I am Rodin. How can I be sure?
Beats me. I had a note from my mother the day they did philosophy at school.
You must conceive form in depth.
Why?
Do you know, I don't remember.
It figures.
What do you make of this?
I stared at the statue he was working on. Face to face with art, we shuffle our feet and apologize. We say, I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. Well, most people do. I can't even say I know what I like. But that's not the point. The point is that if knowing what you like is good enough for shoes and drinks and women, what's wrong with applying the same rule to art? I guess people don't like to look stupid. Personally, I think art's for guys who couldn't do basic maths.
Do you like it?
Well, I don't know much about art. Sometimes I could be such a coward. So you're a sculptor then?
Yes. Yes. I'm reasonably sure I am. Something like that, anyway.
Why do I get the feeling that you aren't going to be much good at small talk?
I don't know if you see, but in the background, just here, we'll see it when I speak to him again. There's a statue of a troll posed as real life Rodin's thinker statue.
Do you know a troll named Malachite?
Malachite. It sounds familiar.
In your own time.
I think he works for me. Or he did work for me. No, I think he must still work for me. Look, there he is over there.
Maybe he is the thinker over there.
Do you know anyone named Therma?
Where do I know that name from?
It wasn't hard to lose patience with Rodan. Every day probably took him by complete surprise. Have you heard of a troll named Madame Lodestone?
Madame Lodestone, the fount of all relief. Relief. Relief to be observed and not outlined. Relief tours determination. That's the main thing. To hope, tremble, to be drunk. It's a man's life in the Imperial Artists.
You're not making any sense.
Sorry.
Okay. Sure. Oh, that was him posing as a thinker, I think.
Malachite was the biggest troll I'd ever seen. Actually, Malachite was the biggest living thing I'd ever seen, and possibly the dumbest, too. You're a tough troll to find, Malachite. You could say something. Okay, so I'll do the talking. So how you been keeping, Malachite? Okay, I guess you don't want to talk about that. This where you're staying at the moment? I guess you're not going to talk about that either. Heard any good jokes recently? How many trolls does it take to change a lamp wick? Want me to give you a clue?
Oh my.
There didn't seem much point in asking Malachite about himself. He wasn't likely to say anything useful. Frankly, he wasn't likely to say anything. It was looking like the only way to get through to this guy was with a chisel. It'd be really useful if you could tell me something about Therma that I could use to find her.
Therma. Find Therma.
Yes, I know that part, but I need some leads if I'm going to find her.
Find Therma.
Malachite wasn't being very helpful, but he was tall and threatening, so I guess everyone has something going for them. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think Therma might be dead. Her house collapsed. She's been gone a while. Are you going to say something?
Need to see the body.
The body?
Find Therma. Need to see body.
Okay, the body. No problem. Sheesh.
Okay then. Are we done with things to do? Oh, here we go. There's our mysterious dwarf.
On an ordinary night, I'd sit around waiting for business. But this night, business was coming to me, and bringing trouble with it. Business, I didn't mind. But trouble was an unwelcome guest. And like all unwelcome guests, it was hard to ask it to leave. And by the third day, it was generally wearing your shirts and leaving its stuff in your bathroom.
Hello, Mr. Luton. I've been expecting you.
I should hope so. This is my office. How'd you get in?
Through the door. It was only locked. I know all about doors.
Good. Use this one to get out.
I have a message for you, Mr. Luton.
I don't take messages from strangers.
Then let me introduce myself. My name is Mr. Al-Khali.
I don't take messages from dwarves named after cities.
My name isn't important.
You seem to think it was.
I've come to warn you to stay clear of the Mundy case.
I'll bear that in mind. Now get out.
If you don't stay clear of the Mundy case, something untoward may happen to you.
This is Ankh-Morpork. Something untoward may happen to me whether I investigate this case or not. Now either you get out or I'll throw you out.
Don't say I didn't warn you, Mr. Luton.
Don't say I didn't ignore you, Mr. Alkali.
Ouch.
A dwarf named after the Klatchian city of Alkali. And a threat. This case was getting more interesting by the minute. All we needed was a troll and a member of the undead, and we could open an ethnic comedy on Broadway.
About the untowardness of what's coming to him, I shall point out that we do know that Luton is going to wake up dead at some point.
The dwarf had tried to threaten me off the Mundy case. I knew right from the start that he knew more than he was telling me.
Okay. Oh,
Sapient pearwood comes from a... It's a nice...
nothing new, but I see a note.
The note had been pushed under my door by Carlotta.
Luton, I am anxious to see you again and to find out how the case is going. Come to the von Uberwald mansion on Moon Pond Lane. Carlotta von Uberwald.
So, Carlotta was a member of the von Uberwalds, one of the richest and most reclusive families in Ankh-Morpork. That explained why she could afford to offer to pay me so much. It didn't explain why she hadn't got around to paying me yet, but I could wait, at least until the rent was due.
Okay, a new thing to do then. That be it, yeah.
I already had a bad feeling about the Mundy case, but learning that my employer was a von Uberwald didn't fill me with confidence. I didn't know the facts about the von Uberwalds, but the rumors were bad enough.
May I help you, sir?
You could let me in for a start.
Very good, sir.
And don't call me sir.
As you wish, sir. May I take your coat and hat, sir?
Thanks, but no. I feel naked without them.
That must make it difficult to clean them.
Was that a joke?
I never joke, sir. It's not my job. I may lie, dissemble, or deceive, but I never joke.
Look, I don't want you to take my coat, okay?
But of course, sir. Sir is welcome to drip all over the immaculate hardwood floor that I spent several hours polishing this morning, because Sir is a guest, and Sir is entitled to do whatever Sir wishes.
How?
Nice house.
Sir's taste in architecture must be quite exquisite to so accurately summarize the many splendid cornices and archaic stained glass frescoes of this splendid Lorenzian building as nice.
You have a gift for making people feel welcome, don't you?
One is blessed.
Do you know anything about a man named Mundy?
Regrettably, sir, I know nothing about that person.
Okay.
So what do you make of Carlotta, then?
Sir?
Carlotta. Carlotta von Uberwald. She does live here, doesn't she?
Indeed, sir. Sir is as dogged in his pursuit of the truth as he is determined to warp the incalculably valuable hardwood floor by his persistent dripping.
You're not going to give up on this hardwood floor thing, are you?
As ever, Sir is both astute and incredibly stubborn.
What about Carlotta?
She is also quite astute and most definitely stubborn.
What do you think about her, then?
I am not paid to form opinions, sir, merely to perform menial actions such as guarding the hardwood floor, a task I am, alas, failing in at the current time.
Will you shut up about the hardwood floor?
As Sir wishes. I will no longer mention how Sir is irrevocably damaging timber felled by the hand of the 77th Earl of Ankh. Boards that have lain here for longer than Sir has been alive, and that were first laid before Sir's father was even a glint in the eye of his grandfather, whomsoever that may have been.
Okay then. I'm being a bit blinded by my light right now. I don't know why. Usually don't mind, but right now it's a bit difficult. So if I look trouble, that's the reason.
Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
I'm sorry. I cannot assist, sir, in that matter.
Of course.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
Why Sir insists on believing that I know everything that goes on in this house is beyond my comprehension.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
Regrettably, sir, I know nothing about that person.
So for now,
I have an invitation from Carlotta.
Ah, Sir is as quick to reach the point of Sir's visit as a tortoise with a war wound is in crossing a very large desert. I will fetch Mistress Carlotta for Sir, provided Sir would be so kind as to wait here and not to touch the valuable and irreplaceable furniture that adorns the room Sir is currently dripping on.
I'll see what I can do.
yeah, the game is a bit slow-paced, unfortunately.
The painting bore a striking resemblance to Carlotta.
The Duchess Charlotte von Uberwald, née Leopoldine. My predecessor, in a sense.
Oh, are you a duchess?
No, but the resemblance is impressive, isn't it? My husband was struck by it from the moment I met him.
Where is your husband?
Dear Ulrich passed away during a civil uprising in Uberwald several years ago. Quite a terrible business, actually. Peasants, pitchforks, burning torches, the usual sort of thing.
Usual?
For Uberwald, certainly. Their ways may seem barbaric, but it's just the way things have always been done. If there wasn't a civil uprising every few years, I do believe the nobility would be most disappointed. Dying at the hands of a mob in a burning castle is practically traditional.
Tradition important to you, is it?
Ever the investigator, eh, Luton? Even your employer isn't beyond suspicion.
My old boss used to say that everyone was guilty of something.
And what are you guilty of?
Too many things, sweetie, but nothing you need to know about. You wanted to know how the case was going.
A girl's got to have hobbies.
I think I'm getting somewhere.
We're all getting somewhere, Luton. The question is, am I going to like where you're going?
I guess we'll just have to find that out the old-fashioned way.
That's me, an old-fashioned girl.
Like the girl in the picture.
The Duchess? She was quite a trendsetter in her era. She wore her dress so high, you could almost see her ankles.
My heart is pounding at the thought.
The banter there.
So what's the story with you and Ulrich?
Do you believe in love at first sight, Luton?
It saves a lot of time, certainly.
Ulrich fell for me the moment we met. I guess seeing that painting every day probably helped.
Don't sell yourself short. You have a few assets of your own. I'm sure it was an equitable transaction.
You think I married him for his money?
Did you?
Let me tell you something, Luton. I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better.
Did you love him?
Does it matter?
It matters to me.
Maybe I did. I guess it depends on what love is.
Love is a moment of weakness that allows someone to hurt you more than you ever thought possible. Men were given the strength to be brutes to women, and women were given love to wreak their revenge.
Who was she, Luton?
Who?
The one who left you with such a high opinion of women. She must have been quite a gal.
I imagine.
I don't have much to tell you about the case, I'm afraid.
You still haven't found Mundi?
Not yet. I might do a better job if I had more money at my disposal.
Ah, yes, of course. You haven't been paid yet.
Well, it had crossed my mind.
I'm sure I could sort something out.
I didn't doubt that she could. The question was, would she? And more to the point, when would she?
When indeed.
What can you tell me about the Duchess?
The Duchess Charlotte von Uberwald. Born Charlotte Ameliorati Victoire Tangerine Leopoldine, she married the Duke when she was 13, which was the style at the time. She was considered a risque dilettante by most of the nobility of Uberwald, and rumors abounded that she caused the heart attack that killed the Marquis of Grand Mal when she showed him her naked knees. Her corset was said to be so tight that her first pregnancy went into extra time, and her first and only son had learned his first word by the time he was born.
You're pretty good on this family history business, then.
I dabble.
I wasn't about to ask Carlotta about herself. Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
Let's try not to get too sidetracked, Luton.
Promise I'm not.
Have you heard of a dwarf who goes by the name of Al-Khali?
No, I haven't.
Never mind. It was a long shot. Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
Be careful, Luton. I don't appreciate people wasting my time.
Oh.
Have you heard of a dwarf who goes by the name of Al-Khali?
No, I haven't.
Never mind. It was a long shot. Tell me again about Monday.
What's to tell? I've told you all you need to know.
Do you know anything about the Milka?
Let's try not to get too sidetracked, Luton.
Have coming here been useful at all?
Don't you think sending me a formal invite was a little over the top?
I got fed up of waiting for you to ask to see my house.
What's so special about your house?
It has me in it.
I'm so excited.
When I get excited about something, I give it everything I've got. I'm funny that way.
And what are you excited about?
Why, working with you, Mr. Luton. What else?
I never saw myself as the stimulating kind.
I have strange tastes.
Is she flirting with him right now?
Can you read this?
Let's try not to get...
Okay.
See you around, Carlotta.
Sure, Luton. I look forward to it.
If Sarah is not too busy, the master of the house wishes a word with you.
And if I am too busy?
The master of the house still wishes a word with you, and I shall be forced to beg.
That sounds like it could be fun.
Did I say beg, sir? I meant resort to violence.
In which case, lead the way.
We got a new thingy. I don't know what it is.
Mr. Luton, as I understand it, my daughter-in-law has retained you to investigate a certain matter for her.
That's correct.
Then I take it you will be a frequent visitor to my house.
It seems likely.
Do you know who I am?
I know that they call you the Count.
Do you know why they call me the Count? Because I am a Count. Count Henning von Überwald. One of the Blints von Überwalds, I ought to add, because frankly, Überwald had an uncountable number of counts. And I'm trapped in Ankh-Morpork at the moment because my current infirmity prohibits me from leaving this room.
That doesn't explain why you wanted to see me.
I wish to know what my daughter-in-law has you investigating.
That's between me and her.
No, Mr. Luton. I rather suspect it isn't. You see, Carlotta's hands are not on the von Überwald purse strings, but mine are.
So you're saying I won't get paid unless I tell you what I'm doing?
No, I'm implying that. Whether or not you actually get paid is a different issue.
What's it to you?
I get very bored. I'm interested as to what goes on around me.
All right. I'm tracking someone for her.
Someone who is missing?
That's right. A man named Monday.
Oh, I see. Very well. If you keep me informed on the progress of the case periodically, I will ensure that you receive payment.
So, this scene and the count with the the Bruce name on his legs and the wheelchair and all that in the sort of forest-like greenhouse. This is a reference to another Humphrey Bogart film called The Big Sleep. I must confess I don't remember anything about it besides that. I haven't seen it in so long, sorry. And I don't really remember what's in it, honestly. But there you go, more Bogart. I don't know how to pronounce it now. Interesting. Anyway, let's go on.
So if I keep you informed on how the Mundy case is going, you'll ensure that I get paid?
As much as it is in my power to do so, yes.
And what if I mention this to Carlotta? Maybe she's got the money from other sources and doesn't need the family money.
A possibility. Very well. I'll offer to pay you irrespective of whether Carlotta pays you herself.
That seems a little unethical. I'd be betraying the trust of a client.
I'll pay you twice your usual fees.
Well, what do you know? Suddenly I've resolved all my ethical dilemmas.
Ethics are a salve for the poor, Luton.
I am the poor.
You sound as if you are proud of the fact.
The poor are often prouder than the rich. They know that what they have can't be taken away.
Why would anyone want to take their poverty away?
I didn't say the poor were smart. I said they were proud. You said you have to stay in the conservatory. Why?
I'm not a well man, Mr. Luton. It is hard to say how long I have for this world, or indeed if the next world will take me.
What's so special about the conservatory?
Ankh-Morpork is too hot and humid for my tastes. I had the conservatory built especially. It's colder than the rest of the house. I keep it at the temperature I feel most comfortable with.
Why so cold?
You ask too many questions.
I'm an investigator. It's my job.
Well, be thankful that I find your impertinence charming, or else I might be forced to teach you a lesson.
In your condition?
You would be surprised at just what I can do in my condition, Mr. Luton.
So the von Uberwalds are wealthy then?
Not compared to some, but we have more than enough to look after our own.
Is Carlotta one of your own?
When she married into us, she became a part of us.
You sound like you don't approve.
My opinions of Carlotta are not the issue. Traditions and ties of blood are stronger than opinions.
But there is no tie of blood between you and Carlotta. She married into the clan.
Mr. Luton, there are ties of blood between all the von Uberwalds. In Uberwald, blood is very important.
Well, that's not ominous at all.
Carlotta sent me an invitation card.
My, what a fascinating thing to insert into an otherwise interesting conversation. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to glare at you until you change the subject.
Funny.
Can you read this?
I'm sorry, but I don't get out of the conservatory much.
Yeah, I didn't expect much. Okay. Let's go and, oh.
So you're a count?
I am the count, yes.
What's it like?
It's fine. Although one does get the occasional burning desire to tear out the throat of people who ask too many questions. Do I have to draw you a picture?
Okay, so that's one of the cases for some reason.
What can you tell me about Mundy?
I'm afraid I can tell you nothing. But I would be interested in what you have to say about Mundy.
Carlotta says he's an ex-lover and she suspects him of cheating on her.
And you believed her?
Whether I believe her or not is immaterial. Do you know anything about the Milka?
I'm sorry, but I don't.
Okay. That's not particularly interesting. I forgot to ask that.
Do you know anything about the recent murders?
Carlotta.
There are always murders in Uberwald. I don't see why these should be any different.
I was talking about the murders here in Ankh-Morpork.
Mr. Luton, I couldn't be less interested in the petty crimes of this wretched city.
Fair enough. More contacts and suspects? Oh, okay. Strange.
Tell me about Carlotta.
I find it impertinent that you should ask questions so boldly of me.
You'll live.
It is fortunate that I find your manner amusing.
I guess this must be my lucky day.
Very well. Carlotta became a member of the family by marrying my son Ulrich, who is no longer with us.
I'm sorry.
Yes, he returned to Uberwald several years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was dead.
Oh, he is. And, alas, Carlotta is now part of my family, and I have a duty to protect her.
Why do you dislike her so much?
It is not something you should trouble yourself with.
Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
These days, the only people I know are those who come to the mansion.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
These days, the only people I know are those...
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
I'm sorry, but I don't get out of the conservatory much.
I do think that's about it, eh? Yeah. Yeah. Can I talk to Carlotta again? There's a book here. We want to look at the book.
There was something about the wooden staircase that was really impressive. I think it might have been the thought that it probably cost more to make than everything I owned.
Nice.
I'll say this for the von Oberwalds. They had class. There weren't many homes in Ankh-Morpork with a window that could take your breath away. Well, maybe in Unseen University, but I'd heard that they had windows there that could literally take your breath away.
Literally, eh?
There was no way I was going to try and smash such an incredible work of art.
Fair enough.
I confess, I was consumed with avarice, but I wasn't about to steal an entire staircase.
Okay then, so we can't speak with Carlotta again, I suspect. Not right now, so we can't ask her about the murders. So presumably we don't need to. Just like this place in the... I'm so miffed about the milk here.
An old edition of Twerp's Peerage. Probably a collector's item. Why do rich families feel the need to leave old, valuable books lying around in their reception halls? It's bad enough that they have so much more money than you without rubbing it in. The book was about the lineage and heraldry of the nobility of the city of Ankh. I didn't understand much of it, but I noticed that there were handwritten corrections in it.
That's interesting. I figure we'll need that later, so we need to make a mental note of this book. Whenever we have to research heraldic, it will be there. It's becoming... Oh. We don't have a lot of clues about anything, eh? See if we can speak with Sam asshole.
I decided not to disturb Samael while he was working.
Damn. Sorry, I clicked outside of my window.
You came back.
I'm not staying. Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
I've not met them. Sorry.
Count Henning von Uberwald.
Okay.
Tell me one thing, Elsa.
No, we did that already.
I mean,
Just... Have you met a man named...
yes, there was a man named Mundi on the sh**.
What?
You see, I remember him
Yeah,
going
hiding
down to
something,
the
eh?
cargo hold at one point.
Is that...
That's all I...
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
I've not met them. Sorry.
What do you know about a dwarf named Alkali?
I've not met them. Sorry.
Hello again.
Oh,
I'll see you...
don't know why I always end up here. Is there a way to avoid that? I guess we can go there. Here we go. Let's try to remember this for next time. Is there anything happening here? Just the same thing. I assume we could get in the future, but we don't really have a reason to right now. So... Malachite is not helpful here. Hidden Rodent's workshop.
Malachite was the biggest troll Actually, Malachite was the biggest...
Oh, maybe we can come back up again. Aha. Nope, wrong button. This one. Aha! Yeah, there was this thing that we never interacted with yet.
There was nothing of value in the debris.
Sure, sure. Flotsam. I am now unfrustrated. Okay, so where are we? There is a small fly in my room. Beautiful. A bunk.
A perfectly ordinary bunk bed.
Who doesn't like perfectly ordinary bunk beds?
I searched a bunk and found a small scrap of cardboard. It could have been anything. There was a number on the back. Either a 6 or a 9. It was hard to say.
This is hard to say.
The scrap of cardboard I'd found in one of the bunks on the Milka had a number on it. Either a 6 or a 9.
I'm like... have this thing where if I find a piece of cardboard like that, I will suspect it's it's from a matchbook from a bar or a hotel. But I don't know if it's justified here.
There were some strange scratches on the bedpost, which looked as if they'd been caused by either a wild animal or a man with very bad dental hygiene. What they meant was anyone's guess. I wasn't about to tear the bedpost off the bed. A bunk bed, like any other. I searched one of the bunks, but found nothing useful, and nothing I wanted to think too closely about. I considered searching the bunk again in the hope of finding something new. It was an easy thought to dismiss.
Okay.
I'd managed to remain hidden on the ship, but I knew my luck wouldn't last forever, because I'd stopped being lucky around age 12. The first mate looked less than happy, but I don't think he saw who I was as I dived in elegantly on the deck. Fortunately, the crust of the Ankh was soft that night,
and I escaped both injury and discovery, although I needed 2 baths just to feel dirty.
Okay, so we have this number 9 thing. Or 6. Let's see.
I'm back, so I can see. Does this mean anything to you?
A tiny piece of cardboard means you got far too much time on your hands.
Fair enough.
There was nothing I could do with the stage.
Oh, click the stage instead of Ruby again. Maybe I can't click Ruby.
The stage.
I can't click Ruby. This is strange. Strange. Quality granite. You can also, oh, maybe you can.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hey, good night. She was. You're right. Good evening. But yeah. She was Sapphire, but she got a red dress, so my mind went to Ruby. Thanks.
Does this mean anything to you?
We still couldn't speak with her.
No.
No. And Alkali.
Do you know a dwarf by the name of Al-Kali?
Never heard of him.
How did you know he was male then?
You can't trick me. Everyone knows dwarves don't use the female pronoun.
Okay.
Mind you, I've always wondered what a female pronoun was.
One of nature's wonderful mysteries, Nobby.
Is it normally kept covered or what?
I'm going to leave it to your rather uninventive imagination, Nobby.
Ow.
It didn't seem worth asking about that.
Really? Okay.
Have you heard of a singer called Therma?
Never heard of her.
Can I go to the other place by clicking on her? Yay! Double clicking brings me here. Good.
Have you ever heard of a troll by the name of Madame Lodestone?
Madame Lodestone? Oh, there's a name I've not heard in quite a while.
You know her then?
Well, no, but I've heard of her. She died in some sort of construction mishap.
A mishap, Nobby.
Whatever. Anyway, if memory serves, they put her body in the Salashi Mausoleum. Don't know how she ended up in such an exclusive establishment, but that's how I heard it.
That doesn't sound very likely.
You did ask.
Yeah, it's about the ruby and the robe. I assume it's that. I have no proof that my mind worked that way.
I don't suppose you know a troll named Malachite.
Not Mount Malachite.
Describe him.
Big, tall, stupid, not very talkative.
That's the one.
He went down for theft years ago. I seem to remember he had an accomplice.
An accomplice?
Yeah, he denied it, but we all thought he was working with someone.
I don't reckon he was the brains of the outfit. What happened?
He escaped. Not that long ago either. As far as I know, he's on the lam. Why? You've seen him?
No. Just interested.
Also, I sort of feel that I've seen a show or read a book or a film or whatever where there was a character called Ruby that might have been a dancer or something of the sort. Maybe I'm getting confused because of that. Anyway, we have discovered something really interesting here, that Malachite is looking for Therma, not because necessarily he cared for her, but because she probably has what they stole all these years ago before he was in prison. So I am going to say goodbye.
Catch you later, Nobby.
I'm going to save because I'm really paranoid tonight. We're going to go see this museum thing. A mausoleum. It's a mausoleum, not a museum. Here it is. Mausoleum.
The
Press right.
Salaci family mausoleum was one of the most beautiful buildings I'd ever seen, nestled in an upmarket part of the city of Ankh. It was unguarded because, quite frankly, no one in their right mind would do anything to offend the Salaci family, given their ties to the Assassin's Guild. It wasn't just something that wasn't done, it was also something that wasn't survived. The Salaci family mausoleum was full of tombs. More chambers, annexes, vaults, sepulchres, and catacombs than a thesaurus. The Salaci family mausoleum. I tried to find Therma's grave, but it was a waste of time. You'd need to be an expert in heraldry or genealogy to even begin to navigate around it. I'll say this for the nobility, they keep their dead well indexed.
Well, I guess we know what we have to do. But first, I'm going to take a short break. I think it's a good time for it. So, be right back in a couple minutes. I am back, and I obviously need tea, so I'll pour some for me. Here we go. Okay. So we go to the book that I said we would need if we need to know anything about heraldry.
I take it Sir still does not wish for me to take Sir's coat.
No.
Very good, sir. Please feel free to continue to damage the priceless hardwood floor.
That's all
I'll
for
be
me.
back. I bet you can't wait.
Indeed, sir. My anticipation is almost tangible.
Go and polish that floor, will you?
We still don't know anything about the piece of cardboard though. So 3 is here. Salaci Museum on book. Yeah, we can use the clues outside
there
of
didn't seem to be any obvious connection to the book.
Really?
The book was about the lineage and heraldry of the nobility of the city of Ankh. I didn't understand much of it, but I noticed that there were handwritten corrections in it. I wanted to find where Therma was buried in the Salaci family mausoleum, but I needed someone who knew their way around a place like that. I knew the streets, but high society family trees are like women, complex and incomprehensible.
Maybe we need to ask Carlotta directly, but
They weren't mentioned in the peerage.
okay. So let's try something.
Hello again. No.
First we can try that with him.
Does this mean anything to you?
Sir has many questions, but alas, I have few answers.
Okay. And oh, sorry, that was the right place. We can show that again.
I'd like to see Carlotta.
Many people wish to see Carlotta. Let us see if you are blessed by her wishing to see you.
Back for more, Luton?
What can I say? I can't get enough of you. So what's the story with you and Ulrich?
Do you believe in love?
It's safe.
Ulrich, I guess.
Don't say. I'm sure it was.
You
Did you?
let I've written.
Did you?
Does it?
It mattered.
Maybe I guess.
Love. Men were given the.
Who was she, Luton?
Okay.
Does this mean anything to you?
Let's try not to get.
Okay. Let's ask about the murders.
You wouldn't have anything to do with the recent murders.
Why, Mr. Luton, you must think the worst of me.
I think the worst of everyone. That's my job.
Do you think Mundy could have been murdered?
Anyone could be murdered, but speculation is cheap.
And you're not?
I'm not cheap. I'm a bargain.
Okay. So...
Do you know anyone?
Sorry, Luton.
I need your help.
I'm not hard to get, Luton. All you have to do is ask.
I need your knowledge. I need to find a particular tomb in the Salaci Mausoleum, but I don't know enough about genealogy. You do.
The Salaci Mausoleum? That could be trouble.
Don't worry. I'm not going to mess with the tombs. I know better than to offend a family whose ties with the Assassin's Guild go back to its very foundation. I just want to see if someone's buried there.
Who's the stiff?
A troll named Therma.
A dead troll? You don't get much stiffer than that, I suppose.
Will you help me or not?
Of course, although I'm not really properly dressed for a mausoleum. You don't mind waiting while I get changed?
It's not like Therma's going anywhere.
Now let's get this straight. We're looking for a troll named Therma?
As far as I know, yes, but she may be in here under the name Madame Lodestone.
Okay, then we can rule out the Fornix Sanguis Ceruleus.
What?
The Blue Blood Vault. We can probably eliminate the heroic decapitated war veterans vault. And the thoroughbred pet vault. Do you know what relation this troll had to the Salaci family?
Does there have to be one?
She wouldn't be buried here if she wasn't.
Well, your guess is as good as mine. It took Carlotta a while to work it out, but we eventually found a Madame Lodestone in the Fornix Famulus, the servitor's vault. Guess she used to keep the floors real clean or something.
Here we are. Madame Lodestone.
There's an inscription. Madame Lodestone, singer and retainer of Lord Robert Salaci, taken from us when her house collapsed, returning her to the rubble from whence she came. Not much of an epitaph. Still, it's more than I expect mine will say. I'll probably end up with whatever's written on the cement bag round my feet.
Yeah.
Carlotta? Carlotta? She disappeared without even a word. I couldn't work that woman out. Still, she'd found me the tomb, which left me trying to decide whether or not to tell Malachite.
I mean...
There's an inscription. Madame... A heavy stone slab covered the tomb of Madame Lodestone, and presumably Therma's body was inside.
I'm playing on a Samsung Fast Refresh LCD. So, but it's very dark. I don't think I have any. There's nothing to configure the gamma here. So I can see stuff, but it is pretty dark. It is not really. Maybe they are. I've got great black levels. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I can see fine, I guess. Fine enough. So, let's see Malachite and decide for Luton. I don't think there's much else we can do.
Hello again, Malachite. No, don't say anything. I know how you love to talk, but I'd hate for you to wear out that beautiful voice of yours.
Oh, that's convenient.
Well, I think I found Therma's body. It's in the Salaci Mausoleum.
Need to see body. Take me there.
Okay. Nice to see someone dealing with the grieving process at high speed. Cut straight to the acceptance. It saves a lot of time, doesn't it? I don't know why I bother sometimes. Not as if he's listening to me. Maybe it'd help if I hit him with something, like maybe a really heavy building.
Need to see body.
Of course you do.
So what's the loot?
here's the tomb.
Need to see body.
Hey, it's going to be pretty ugly in there. I mean, she was crushed under a house. That'd mess up even a troll.
Need to see body.
Malachite pushed the slab off the tomb like he was opening a jam jar. Inside was some rubble that I assumed was Therma's body. Frankly, there wasn't much to go on. Trolls are rocks, and that's the whole story.
Not Therma. Keep looking.
Are you crazy? How could you tell?
Not Therma. Keep looking.
I was beginning to wonder if Malachite was mad. If he was, I could at least make use of it. Okay, I've got no soul. I must be a heel. All right, I'll keep looking. But I've got a problem. There's this building I need to get into, but I can't do it. I need a grappling iron. A grappling iron like the one you have. Look, I need to borrow your grappling iron. Do you understand?
Give you hook. You find Therma.
That's the deal. I couldn't help but wonder what it meant if that rubble wasn't Therma. Had Sapphire lied to me? I wouldn't be surprised. Frankly, I was more surprised by people telling me the truth than telling lies. Lies flow like water, but the truth burns. That's not a bad line. I better write that down. Malachite gave me the grapple and left the mausoleum without another word.
I must confess, I hadn't seen he had a grapple. So, yeah.
The rubble was definitely the body of a troll. But according to Malachite, it wasn't Therma's body.
So when we talked to Sapphire, and we said a troll singer named Therma, she found that very amusing. So there's a distinct chance that the Therma we're looking for is not a troll.
The rubble was definitely the body of a troll. But according to I examined the body closely, but all I could see of interest were the troll's diamond teeth glinting at me.
Which quite frankly would be an interesting loot, but maybe you don't loot from the Slashy family. Probably better. Probably in enough trouble as it is. What did we say we would do? Oh yeah, we have a grappling hook. Grappling hook! Oh yeah, there was a reference to something while he spoke, but... Oh yeah, he said he's a heel. I think that's a reference to pro wrestling, where there are faces and heels. I guess the heels are the bad guys. I know nothing about these things. Okay, so there's a skylight here, remember? Where am I? Here, okay. In that particular case, I don't see anything. He's not, oh, okay, I can see his hat over here. Okay.
The skylight was locked tight. The skylight sat on the roof, and
Crowbar. It's a good solution to every problem, yeah? Okay, this is really dark.
breaking into the warehouse was easier than I thought. But then I was a natural pessimist. Living in Ankh-Morpork did that to a man. What little light there was in the warehouse was coming through the skylight, and shadows played on the walls as I searched for something to help the case. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was desperate enough that anything would do. The warehouse was full of crates. I wasn't surprised. That's what the warehouse was for, after all. None of the crates seem to be of much interest, though.
Okay.
I wasn't about to try carrying a huge crate around with me.
I thought this was something in this vicinity, but apparently it's not that. Can I move? Did we see someone? That would be funny. Matchbook. Oh, does it match the number? It does. Ah ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. So. Here. Down, please. Thank you. This on
The
this.
scrap of cardboard I'd found on the Milka matched the torn matchbook exactly.
And again, as I was saying earlier, like, I didn't remember this puzzle. I might have very well be wrong. And I assume that the reason why I thought I saw that and assumed it might be from a matchbook is because I've played this game before. And it taught me to look for matchbooks.
The reconstructed matchbook clearly read 9 Whalebone Lane.
And I don't get a location from that. Maybe I should ask Nobby about it. Also, is there any... there's no address. Okay, so we can't see where the matchbook is from. I think that's all we're going to find here. It's really... I had seen the matchbook. I was not crazy. Just failed to point at it. I think that's about it for now. How do I go off? Not off, but like down. Okay.
Hello again.
Hello.
Any thoughts on this matchbook or what's written on it?
Very non-committal.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, this looks like an address, right? Maybe we can give it to Carlota.
No. I'd like...
After all, she wants to know if that's where we find Monday.
Back for more, Luton?
What can I say? I can't get enough of you. Any thoughts on this matchbook or what's written on it?
Let's try not...
Okay. Oh, Sapphire disappeared.
I'm back.
So I can see.
Do you know what this is?
It's a matchbook.
Any reason it might have the address of the parrot written on the
Oh, it's written here.
None that has anything to do with me.
I knew he was hiding something. The question was, how could I get it out of him? I'm against unnecessary violence. Besides, these skinny types can be tougher than they look.
Okay, I hadn't noticed, but it's indeed written in the background.
Have you seen Sapphire?
She's not here. She went off to see someone.
Who?
Who do I look like? A keeper?
Sapphire is her entire case now? Yeah.
Do you know of a troll?
I didn't
that goes
notice.
by the name of Malachite? Tall, terse, and dense, in both senses of the word.
Might have been one of the customers from when this... But I...
Yeah, so I just pushed the it just matchbooks often come from buyers, so I thought it might come from here and he might have something to say. So my acting had nothing to do with that. I was
I gave Mencken Mundy's description and asked if he'd seen him. He told me that he hadn't, but I was convinced he was lying. The matchbook had to belong to Mundy, and I was sure he was hiding here. So you don't know Mundy?
I've already told you that I don't.
And this matchbook means nothing to you?
Do you practice to become this irritating?
Well, I'm confused. You see, this is Mundy's handwriting on the matchbook, and this is your address he wrote. Shall I tell you what I think?
I don't think I have that much choice.
I think Mundy is here, but he told you not to tell anyone that he's here.
You're just making it up as you go along.
Well, I could always go and fetch the watch. I heard they were looking for Mundy too, and if he's not here, you wouldn't have to worry about being charged with hiding a known fugitive. They can get so impatient.
Mundy's not a fugitive.
How would you know?
You little... All right, you win. He's upstairs, but don't tell him I told you.
I wouldn't dream of ruining your reputation in high society.
Okay, so we have solved our problem here. Well, that one. And this one, there's really nothing we can do, so... Yep. How do we get upstairs? It looked like downstairs, but okay.
I'd gone to a lot of trouble to find Mundy, and now the goal was in reach. It seemed like an anticlimax. I couldn't quite see what Mundy was doing when I entered his room, and seconds later I was silent. The last thing I saw as I passed out of consciousness was the floor rushing up to meet me.
It's another Ganondorf gambit.
By the time I came around, the watch had arrived. I must have been unconscious for hours, maybe days. I thought no one could feel as bad as I did, until I saw Mundy. His feet were bound and his eyes had been gouged out. Either he died of massive blood loss, or he'd spilt an awful lot of red wine. It wasn't going to be a good day, I decided.
Going somewhere, Luton? You don't leave until we've finished with you.
You know where my office is. If you want an interview, you can find me there.
I consider you to be the prime suspect in this investigation.
You've gotta be kidding.
I've never been more serious.
Never? What do you want with me? I was unconscious throughout the whole incident.
We only have your word for that. You could have killed Mundy and then knocked yourself unconscious.
With what?
Your wedding. You were pretty serious then.
What?
Yes, Nobby. Now shut up.
Will you explain what you think I did?
You came in, mutilated Mundy, and then knocked yourself unconscious.
Is that all?
There's your promotion, too. You were really serious then.
Nobby, you've made your point, thank you. Shut up.
How did I knock myself unconscious?
I don't know yet. But you're not a complete fool, Luton. You'd have found a way.
Do you have any evidence against me, or is this just part of your ongoing campaign of victimization?
It's just, you're always kinda serious.
You were present at the time of the murder. Your rope was used in the murder.
My rope? The murderer steals from me, and suddenly I'm guilty of murder?
It's not a bad thing. I mean, you're the commander of the watch, and that's a serious job.
Then there's the victim's message.
Azil? How does that incriminate me?
It ends in L-E. He could have been trying to write Luton. He could have died before he could finish.
He could have been trying to write Lemon. And what is Azzy supposed to mean?
I was only trying to help.
For all we know, Azzy might mean it was in Mundy's own language.
For all we know, Azil might mean, help, someone has gouged my eyes out. You're just guessing. There must be other suspects.
The landlord says no one went upstairs after you.
It could be the landlord for all you know.
Mencken? He's not the type. Anyway, he reported the incident to us.
Listen, you've got nothing on me, and unless you're going to arrest me, I'm going to leave.
I'm keeping an eye on you, Luton. Consider yourself a suspect for all the counterweight killings. If you're in any way involved, I'll find out. Don't leave town, Luton.
He's really got it in for me, hasn't he?
He's not a bad person, Luton. He's just a bit
Psychotic? Obsessed? Judgmental?
I was going to say overworked, but I've changed my mind.
What's this about counterweight killings?
Well, and this is in the strictest confidence.
I won't tell anyone who doesn't talk to me.
The murders have all been a bit, well, odd, redualistic.
What? They are involved with a revival of philosophical principles concerning the division of reality into two independent forces, mind and matter?
No. Redualistic. Like what cults do. Reduals.
Ritualistic. I see. Like someone was trying to make a point.
Yeah. One of the patrician's clerks was killed the other day. Very suspicious.
Why the counterweight killings?
I'd better not discuss that. Gotta go. See you later, Luton.
A lot later will do.
I'm guessing because of the counterweight thing, that is probably just a speculation or a rumor. Two Conkers will become the main suspect later, since he's come from the counterweight continent. A few notes. How did Vimer, that's not his name, Vimes, sorry. French translation in my head. How did he know the rope was mine? Another point is, I think there's another name for that, but what I call the Ganondorf Gambit is we found Monday for the person that was presumably looking for them to kill them. So, yeah, eek. There's no winning because you have to be able to do what you need to do or save whatever you need to save. You need to lead the bad guy to victory. I can no carry enough time. Third, I'm pretty sure this is 3712V, but we'll see that later.
The bed looked neither comfortable nor inviting.
Right, because what I'm guessing is Monday was hanging upside down here by the feet or something like that, and that's why it is not Azil. I don't know if you can realize that though.
Looking closely at the frayed rope hanging from the rafters, I knew that Monday had been tied up by the legs and then hung from the ceiling. I didn't know why. Frankly, I wondered if I really wanted to know why. Something very strange was going on.
It just looked like numbers, right? And again, I may think of this immediately just because I've played this game before. It taught me to look at numbers disguised as letters. Yeah. No, now it's guaranteed by this time.
His corpse wasn't very attractive. I wasn't looking forward to telling Carlotta how Monday died. There was nothing on Monday's body worth taking. It seemed to be a cheap copy of Spinner's Rain, Cream and Speed. I could tell it was art, because I couldn't make out what it was supposed to be.
Also, not only the 3 is very suspicious, but the Z2 is also very not a Z. I haven't played any of the Ace Attorney game. So let me pull this. So I will trust you on the fact that... Actually, let's look at this first.
Someone, either the killer or Monday, had written Azil on the wall in blood. Monday's blood, presumably. I had no idea what it meant.
I've seen like upside down stuff like that in various kinds of medias, games, films. But it is very likely that this game taught me to look at it. So now we have
on the wall of Monday's room, someone had written the word Azil in blood. I didn't know what it meant.
We're not going to ask around. We're going to do this.
Frankly, the message could mean anything.
What?
Frankly, the message could mean anything.
Damn.
There was some frayed rope in the rafters of Monday's room. I hadn't completely fathomed its relevance.
Maybe like this.
I had a hunch there was a connection, but I needed to go one step at a time. There had to be a connection between Monday's murder and the frayed rope. I just hadn't found it out yet. There was some... I hadn't... What had Mundy been trying to write? Who or what was Azil?
Mundy's boots. Okay, let's have a look.
Mundy's killer had tied his legs together with my rope. It was bad enough that he stole my rope without implicating me in a gruesome murder at the same time. Nothing. There should have been something in the boots, only there wasn't. I was pretty sure that the watch didn't search them, and that didn't leave many options.
I don't get it.
The bed looked neither comfortable nor inviting. It hardly seemed worth searching. The watch had already searched it, and frankly... I didn't want to read too much. The frayed rope in the rafters was the same as the rope around Mundy's legs. The rope that used to be tied to the grapple. That had to mean that Mundy was hung upside down and then killed. And that meant someone cut him down after he was killed. Curiouser and curiouser.
Okay, we probably have what we need now. Mundy upside down.
If there was a...
Thank you.
They say that the universe is full of particles called inspirations. One of them hit me at that moment because I suddenly realized something that should have been obvious. If Mundy was hung upside down, and if Mundy wrote the message, then the message was upside down. Turning it around in my head, I could see that it read 3712V. It wasn't a meaningless word after all. It was a meaningless combination of letters and numbers instead. Somehow that seemed much, much worse.
Yeah, so that sounds like a, an index combination. If it was a modern game, I would assume there was some kind of storage system, and that would be the number of the storage box. But I don't know. Maybe Mankin knows.
How does it feel to be a suspect, Mankin? What? You're an obvious choice of suspect because you called the watch. You were the first on the scene. Round here, that means it's practically a closed case. I don't see why. You were there when I got there. I was unconscious. Well, I heard a commotion. That's what made me check it out in the first place. Maybe Mundy managed to knock you out before he died. While he was tied and blind? Perhaps he said a particularly offensive word and I fainted. Well, I happen to know that the watch consider you a suspect. Well, don't forget that I know something that they don't. That you're a liar and you can't be trusted. Just because you can't trust me doesn't mean no one can trust me. Does 3712V mean anything to you? Leave me alone, Luton.
Okay. Could ask the this person.
I'm back.
Let's have a party.
Sure, parties.
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
That's nothing.
Okay. You never know. Hello. Here we go. Okay. My cursor was off the screen. Oh, that's the yard. That made me something to Nubby.
There was something about the way the other members of the watch looked at me that let me know that no matter how innocent I was still stained with suspicion. Still, I'll take the stains of suspicion over the tarnish of guilt. Suspicion was easier to wash out. Sometimes I think I'd just give up and crawl inside a whiskey bottle. Except that you can only do that if you are less than 1 inch high. Doesn't look like I'm too welcome around here. Of course, I haven't been welcome here since I got kicked off the force, but at least then they just thought I was corrupt. Now they think I'm a murderer.
Nah, Luton, you've got it all wrong. They don't think you're a murderer. They think,
That my personal hygiene is appalling?
no.
That I have the Clutchian plague?
No.
Face it, they think I'm a murderer.
You know, give me a minute, I'll think of something.
Nobby, you've never thought of something printable in your entire life. Why should you start now? Does 3712V mean anything to you?
No.
No.
I take it I'm still the prime suspect for Mundy's murder.
Afraid so, Luton.
I take it you realize that Mundy was hung upside down from the rafters.
Well, yes, of course. Yes. Hung upside down. Yeah.
I can't believe that the person doing the most work on this case is also the prime suspect.
Okay. Let's stop at the office just in case. I want to try this out. Not very likely to yield a result,
I
but
only bought the filing cabinet because it looked good.
fair enough. Could also be a mausoleum thing, but
I
probably
see
not.
Sir has returned.
Sir has.
Who would Sir like to see?
Oh, we can see the count as well.
Is the Count receiving guests?
No, but he will see you. Ah, Luton. I was hoping you would drop by.
You don't sound so good, Count.
I am not the man I used to be, that is certain. Past my prime, you might say. Yes, past my prime.
I could come back later if you want.
No, there is no guarantee that I will be getting any better. If anything, I might be worse.
Your health?
We are both men of the world, Mr. Luton. I will not mince words with you. I am dying. I might last another year or so, or I might not last the week. And to think I thought more pork would be good for my health.
Not too many people would believe you, certainly.
Let us dispense with the pleasantries and get straight to business. Yes? Yes. Straight to business.
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
I'm sorry, but I don't get out of the conservatory much.
Can you think of any reason that Mundy might have been hung upside down before he was killed?
Mr. Luton, I couldn't be less interested in the petty crimes of this wretched city.
Counterweight killings.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
Miss...
Okay. That was a faster way to there. But there's no
Does
oh damn. Yeah, okay. Okay, we have nothing to tell to him, to discuss with him. Anyway, let's go see Carlota. Well, maybe we can check the book first since we're here. Oh, I don't need to double click.
The book was about the lineage.
Because there's just a small possibility that this is a reference in that book.
There didn't seem to be any.
No, okay, good. Yeah, I can't. I need to exit and start over. Where's that? Here. Okay.
Who?
Here we go. Carlotta.
Is Carlotta home?
Alas, no. What a shame that Sir's trip has been wasted. Perhaps Sir would like to leave now.
Tell her I called by.
Why, my loins stir at the very thought of serving you in this way, sir.
Wow. Actually, we could have spoken with him. See if he knows that.
I see, sir. Who?
I doubt it, but...
Does
Sir has many questions.
Okay. So we can't report the murder. Or do something with it.
Still here?
Not for much longer, I hope.
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
Sorry, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Can you think of any reason why someone would murder Mundy?
I didn't think you needed a reason to kill people in Angmorpork.
Everything has a reason.
I've never been one for teleology.
Don't start. I can do without the philosophy.
Suit yourself.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
Sorry, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, I should have asked Nobby about it. Maybe he'll spill the bean this time. Let's
I need your help.
Well, okay, I suppose.
Tell me more about these counterweight killings.
I'm not really sure I should, Luton. Sorry.
Come on, Nobby. You can trust me.
Well, no. Look, Luton, I can't tell you.
Why not? Shouldn't I know?
It's not to be discussed with anyone who's not part of the case.
Ah, I see. Well, that makes sense. Obviously, you wouldn't want people not involved with the case learning about it.
Exactly.
And I'm the prime suspect in that case, right?
Well, you're the prime suspect in the Mundy case. But the prime suspect in the counterweight killings is that foreign spy who's been killing all the prominent people. Like that bloke up at Unseen University and that fellow in the Patrician's Palace.
Right. Well, I won't ask any more questions then, seeing as how I shouldn't.
Thank you, Luton. I appreciate it.
okay.
Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
Never heard of him.
Okay. It's so bizarre that this is in murders and in more murders. Okay. That was not completely pointless, but Rodan's not here. Rodan, I guess.
I didn't have any reason to steal Roden's statue.
Mispronounces whose name? Sorry.
Malachi? Well, I'm trying to find out why a troll named Sapphire would lie to me. Any thoughts?
Don't know nothing about that.
At least he answered. Because you wanted that to be pronounced Uberwald, right? I don't think they pay a lot of attention to that. He does pronounce Uberwald, I think, which is a fairly natural pronunciation in English. Sapphire, she's not. Okay.
I wasn't about to hand the grapple back to Malak.
I'm guessing we're going to explore stuff. Oh. No more troll, eh?
The pianist, Samael, was one of Cafe Ank's greatest assets. Not only was he a first-rate...
So, in name pronunciation, notice how he says Samael here. Did he? I didn't even notice.
The pianist, Samael, was one...
Samael, right?
I decided not to disturb Samael while he was working.
Samael. So, maybe you can say it's the same pronunciation, but really, it kind of isn't. There's no more things to do here. Yeah, another thing is that in these video games, I'm pretty sure people record their voices independently, so they're not in the studio together, and they might pronounce things differently because they don't hear each other speaking, so they don't really have a way to synchronize. So yeah, Luton's office. No, but we came here anyway. That sounds useless.
I think I felt like I was playing pin the tail on... Useful though they are.
There's nothing clickable anymore. Yada yada yada.
Based upon the real truth, the King of Ankh, Hwell's most boring play. Learn the ancient mystic art of the Path of the Scorpion. Unique mail-order lessons on this famous self-defense method by Grand Master Lobsang Dibbler. Missing. Small dog. Answers to the name of Mr. Huggy. Based upon the real... There was nothing I could do with the stage other than be glad I didn't have to perform on it.
Well, so, yes, but the only person capable of moving this lid is Malachite, and I don't think he has the brains to do that. And how do you convince him? Well, that's the real question.
Frankly, the message could mean anything. Mundy's last words were 3712V. He wanted someone to get this message, but I didn't really know what it meant. Mundy's last word. He wanted someone to... The painting. I couldn't think of a good reason. I didn't want to tamper with it. Besides, there wasn't enough rope.
You suppose? I mean, it's a problem enough to move the lid off, but to put it back on, you need to be really strong. But yes, you should probably not come back. It's not really serious, but... Not here.
I have a few more.
You're persistent.
We said that we did.
That's...
There's nothing to do with him.
I think I found your intruder.
Really?
He's dead. Somebody murdered him.
Good. That's what you get when you break into my warehouse.
You realize that makes you a suspect in the investigation?
What? Why?
You just made a death threat against the man. I think that gives you motive, and I'll bet that no one can confirm your alibi when he was murdered.
You wouldn't falsely accuse a man like that, would you?
Hey, do I look like that kind of guy? Of course not.
What did you do that for? You really scared me.
That was the idea. Now that the crisis has been averted, would you let me into the warehouse?
No.
Okay, scrub the gratitude ploy. Does...
That's nothing.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
That's nothing to do with me.
If it wasn't for the Watchman, like as it...
I'm not full of ideas.
I see, sir.
Sir,
Who would
Claudia's not here.
is Carla...
perhaps
Tell her,
why my lawyer?
is the Count... I've got a few more...
Go.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
Mr. Luton, I couldn't be less interested.
We've already asked that, eh?
Does the word Azil mean anything to you?
Yes, I remember Azil. The mad Ascari of the great Neth. He rose to power before even the light dams of Sorka were completed. I remember he used to punish his detractors by burying them upside down in the sand. Do you know, I think he honestly believed they might grow into trees. He was quite mad, you know. Quite mad.
How long ago was this?
Oh, I don't know. A couple of 100 years ago, at least.
You seem to remember it like yesterday.
I am an old man. My memory plays tricks.
Okay. We can ask him about Sapphire.
I need your help again, Nobby.
Although, I suppose...
I'm trying to find out why a troll named Sapphire would lie to me. Any thoughts?
Can't help you with that, Squire.
Huh. He wouldn't know either, but we can have fun with this.
I have a few...
You're persistent.
I'm trying to find out why a troll named Sapphire would lie to me. Any thoughts?
That's nothing to do with me.
What are we missing? We have the number. Did we ask the first mate about the number?
Still here? Not for much longer, I...
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
Sorry, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Let's ask Malachite, just in case.
Well, does 37...
Great. Okay, another possibility is that Sapphire is Therma. Because Sapphire is smart for a troll, and if Malachite did an operation and there needed to be a brain, maybe Sapphire was one, and maybe she somehow killed the other Sapphire, the real one, pretending it was her, so exchanging the thing, because humans can't really tell trolls apart, right? So she would get away with a different identity. That would make sense, yeah? And that would quite explain why the fact that I asked about her meant that she fled immediately, almost. But the fact that I have this fairly strong hypothesis doesn't really help me solve anything.
There was nothing I could do with the stage other than be glad.
Come to persecute me some more, Luton?
A man's gotta have a hobby. Does 3712V mean anything to you?
Leave me alone, Luton. This is species harassment.
If you say so.
I've been thinking hard about Mundy's death, and there's something that doesn't add up.
Oh, enthrall me with your erudite wisdom, great one.
When Mundy was killed, he was hanging from the ceiling, but when the watch turned up,
Oh,
he was on
I
the
see.
ground.
Maybe the killer cut him down when he was dead.
I don't think so. I think that message was written by Mundy, and I don't think the killer saw him write it, which means someone must have cut him down.
Right, and the boots are empty, I guess. Whatever was in it, Mankin has.
Somebody who was in that room cut Mundy down. I don't think it was the killer, and I know it wasn't me.
What are you getting at?
You cut him down, didn't you?
Why should I tell you?
I've already told you, I don't think the killer would have cut him down. Which means if you cut him down, you're in the clear.
Alright, yeah, so I cut him down. Happy now?
Why?
Not everything has a reason, Luton.
But people can usually find reasons for what they do.
Well, draw your own conclusions.
I was missing something, but I couldn't see what. You cut down Mundy so you could search him, didn't you?
What are you suggesting?
Nothing worse than the truth. You're a liar and a thief.
Alright, Luton. What is it you want? What have I got to do to get you to leave?
Just give me what you found in Mundy's boot, and I'll leave you alone.
Here. You want it? Have it.
Here we go.
Worthless anyway.
What is it?
How the hell should I know? Now, I kept my end of the bargain. You keep yours. Leave me alone.
We'll see, Mankin. I figure I owe you at least one lie.
Get out, Luton.
In my own time, Mankin had given me a small coin. But it wasn't any type of coin I recognized. I guess I should be grateful to the half-elf for keeping the clue away from the watch. But frankly, I just didn't like the little weasel.
Yeah, I feel like thrown back to that. I had the same feeling as a kid. Is that Luton is not particularly nice to Mankin, but I don't understand why Mankin is so like stressed / traumatized about it. So that's something we might be able to show to the first mate, because he's well traveled.
Still here?
Not for much longer, I hope.
The only time I saw Mundy, he was playing with this coin. A metallic flat disc with a square hole in the center. The coin had markings on one side that I couldn't read. It wasn't from any nation I'd ever heard of. I had a feeling that Mundy's coin was
Okay, don't show it to anybody yet. Maybe Kelta's here now.
Who?
Is Carla? Tell her
Why my loins?
Again, in a sort of desperate measure we can do. This is not really about heraldic, so it's unlikely to be there.
best to leave.
Sure. I'm not going to show it to the watch, that's for sure. Up here. Is there anybody here?
I knew full well that
That was interesting. Oh, this is going to be annoying. So you're going to tell me that every hour? That's great. It is connected to the internet, yeah. Not that I did that on purpose, it's just it's by default and I didn't remove the internet. It's really not needed though. Maybe he knows, and he wouldn't be able to tell anybody, so...
Well, I had a feeling.
Yeah. I expected as much, but you can grasp at straws.
Somehow, I wasn't surprised to find Al Kali waiting for me in my office. In my head was a list of suspects for killing Mundy, and Al Kali had gone straight in at number 1.
Mr. Luton, I am so pleased to see you.
The feeling's not mutual, Al Kali. What do you want?
All in good time, Mr. Luton.
Why do I get a feeling that Al Kali isn't your real name? It's not very dwarfish.
My name is of little consequence, Mr. Luton, and the story of how I acquired it will have to wait for another time. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Now, why would you want to carry an axe?
To hack at people, Mr. Luton. An axe is the weapon of choice for a dwarf, you should know that.
Why kill me now? What's the point?
I'm not planning to kill you, Mr. Luton. I merely need the axe as a deterrent should you wish to try something foolish.
I don't try foolish things. Sometimes they just happen.
Then I suggest you don't let them happen now.
When you've finished searching me, I know a nice restaurant we can go to.
So, you have been a busy man, Mr. Luton. I think you'd better come with me.
Is there an alternative?
That would depend on how attached you are to your arms and legs, and how much you want them to remain attached to you.
I didn't know where Al Kali was taking me, but I was now sure he wasn't going to kill me. He could have done that in my office, and it would have been days before anyone found the body. No, he wanted me for something. I just didn't know what. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting to be taken to see a troll. I've seen some unusual things in my life, but a troll and a dwarf working together? That was something else. Ankh-Morpork wasn't hot at that time of year, but the big troll was sitting back in a wicker chair being fanned. Smart. Out of the cold of the mountains, overheating of their silicon brains was the reason for the trademark stupidity of the trolls. I'd have to watch my step with this one. Al-Kali had a brief whispered conversation with the troll, but I couldn't make out what was said. At one point, I thought I heard Al-Kali mention a coin from Sorta, but the rest was a mystery.
Mr. Luton, so glad you could come and join us, and so punctually, too. Yes, I know you were escorted by Mr. Al-Kali here, but the fact that you arrived on time shows that you didn't put up any show of resistance, which means you're intelligent enough to realize that we are not your enemies. And since we are not enemies, there is always the possibility that we might be friends. You are a quiet man?
No, I like to talk, but I like to dance, too. And the trick in both is knowing when to lead and when to follow.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. I distrust a quiet man. He generally picks the wrong time to talk and says the wrong things. A talking is something you cannot do judiciously unless you keep in practice. I'll tell you right out. I'm a troll who likes talking to people who like to talk.
What shall we talk about?
What indeed do friends talk about?
Most friendships don't start out with one of the friends being led around by an axe-wielding dwarf. While we're at it, most people know the names of their friends.
Of course. How impolite of me. Mr. Al-Kali, I believe you already know. And my name is Jasper Horst. Perhaps you've heard of me.
I have a bad memory for names. It gets me into a lot of trouble.
You have a bad attitude as well. That also gets you into trouble.
Now, Mr. Al-Kali. It doesn't do to slander a guest, especially one whom you hope to count among your friends.
These lines that were said with a very different voice were really weird. I figure maybe they re-recorded them after the fact, and the voice actor didn't quite remember how he did the voice. Anyway.
So, if we're friends, I guess Al-Kali's warning about staying off the Mundy case was just a friendly warning.
Straight to the point. I do admire a man who avoids skirting the issues. Such a man makes an excellent politician, but is almost impossible to trust. Well, sir, it seems you are now in the possession of something that we would like.
And what might that be?
Come now, sir. There's no need to play coy. We know you were the last person Mundy saw, and we know you have the coin from Sorter. Frankly, sir, we know you have the golden sword, and we wish to make an offer for it.
What if I told you it wasn't for sale?
Don't be tedious, Mr. Luton. We obviously know that you are in the employ of Carlotta. Hence we know that you have a price. Whatever she is offering you, we can safely offer double. And unlike Carlotta, I am a troll of my word.
What if she's offering me something that you can't match?
You don't strike me as a man who would fall for Carlotta's moves, sir. You strike me as a man with better judgment than that. Are you loyal to Carlotta?
I am loyal to one person and one person alone. Me.
That's wonderful. I do like a man who isn't afraid to tell you that he is looking after himself.
We're all looking after ourselves.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. And I don't trust a man who says he's not.
So, talking about accents some more, you might have noticed that the troll doesn't say Torta, he say Torter. Why does he do that? He does that because if you would write Torta or Tortar and Torta, they would be pronounced more or less the same in English, right? And so when people with non-erotic accents that would pronounce, car, try to pronounce words in erotic accent, they will add R's where they don't pronounce in their dialects. Like car becomes car. But sometimes there was no R to begin with. So it was just Torta, not Torter. Anyway, just another thing about like these aren't British people making an American accent. Not all of them are trying to make an American accent for the record, but many of them do, probably because Humphrey Bogart is American, and generally speaking, the noir genre is American. But yeah. Anyway, accents are cool. That's my point, I guess. Anyway, let's continue.
Trust seems very important to you, Horst.
Indeed. Without trust, we are no better than barbarians. It is the capacity for trust that sets the humans, trolls, dwarfs, and such above the lesser animals.
That and our capacity for cruelty.
What a dark outlook you have, sir. Are you a pessimist?
Pessimism is a term used by optimists to attempt to discredit those who see the world as it really is.
You are a man of the world, sir. I like that about you.
He likes a lot of things about a lot of people, doesn't he?
Tell me about the golden sword, Horst.
Carlotta didn't tell you what it was?
Horst seemed to think I knew things that I didn't, and that could give me the advantage. I decided it was time for a good bluff. She told me, but I took it for granted she was lying.
A not injudicious thing to do.
Let's cut to the chase. How much will you pay me for the sword?
Suffice it to say, I will pay you its value.
That doesn't give me much to go on.
You will appreciate, sir, that a golden sword like that is a difficult artifact to sell. Indeed, you would draw a lot of attention were you to attempt to do so. I will offer you what the sword is worth, and that, I can assure you, is more than Carlotta is offering you.
I could use a figure.
I don't like to commit myself to fixed fees. Those who set exact price tags leave themselves no room to negotiate when the circumstances change. Rest assured that it will exceed $10,000 at the least.
10,000, eh? I'll think about it. Does 3712V mean anything to you?
Become, sir. Let us not stray from the matters in hand.
What do you know about the circumstances of Mundy's murder?
A strange question, sir, but you have your reasons, I'm sure. I must say I was impressed. Disguising the murder as a counterweight killing was clever, but knocking yourself out after the murder was a masterstroke. A gamble, certainly, but the greater the risk, the greater the reward.
Can you tell me anything about the counterweight killings?
I had assumed you would know more than I, sir. I know only what I've heard, that there's a spy from the counterweight continent in Ankh-Morpork, and that he is killing people in a manner that is both striking and extravagant.
Okay. There's not much we can do with that. Actually.
What exactly is your connection with Carlotta?
She didn't mention me to you? I'm not surprised. Carlotta is a model for deception. Never tell the truth when a lie will do. As for her connection with me, she and I are associates.
That doesn't tell me much.
Alas, sir, you are right. But what it tells accurately. And that should make up for the deficit of information conveyed.
Do you know a troll by the name of Malachite?
I cannot say I have made their acquaintance.
Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
I cannot say I have...
Does Al-Kali work for you?
Mr. Al-Kali and I have a complicated working relationship. He and I have been associates for some time.
So Carlotta's an associate, and Al-Kali's an associate. You still haven't told me what you mean by associate, though.
Let's just say that the three of us share a common goal.
Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
I trust you are not trying to confuse me, Mr. Luton.
I'm trying to find out why a troll named Sapphire would lie to me. Any thoughts?
Become, sir. Let us not
Okay.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Horst, but I have other things to do.
I trust you will keep in touch, sir. I look forward to hearing your decision.
You're letting him go?
Come now, Mr. Al-Kali. Mr. Luton is our friend and associate. He is free to come and go as he pleases.
I'll let you know what I decide, Horst.
But of course, goodbye, Mr. Luton. For now.
I was starting to piece together what was going on. Whatever this sword was, it was clear that Mundy brought it into town with him on the Milka. I guess he was the courier. For who, wasn't clear. He must have hidden it in one of the crates on the Milka, and then broken into the warehouse to recover it. Only the watchman stopped him before he could retrieve it. None of which told me where the sword was, or even what the sword was. One thing was clear. I needed to talk to Carlotta.
So Jasper Horse really likes a man who is a friend or associate, sorry. Anyway, let's go speak with Carlotta.
I see, sir. Who?
Is Carlotta home?
Alas, no. What a shame that Sir perhaps why my...
Interesting.
Is the Count... I've got a few more...
Go on.
Do we have Jasper Horst in a golden sword? Milk is cargo. Okay.
Horst had spoken of a golden sword, and it was apparent that he thought I had it. There was a chance that the golden sword was somewhere. The question was... I didn't want to discuss the golden sword. This was clearly something that... Do you know anything about the Milka's cargo?
I'm sorry, but I don't get out of the conservatory much.
I didn't want to discuss the golden sword. This was clearly something that was worth keeping quiet about.
That is fair. Miscellaneous? The golden sword is miscellaneous, sure.
Do you know a troll named Jasper Horst?
I rather think that is my business and not yours.
It seemed like I touched a nerve. What was it that the Count wasn't telling me?
Yeah. Okay. He knows something. It's not really helpful there. That's Horst. We can ask him about Horst. We'll learn a few things, I guess.
I need your help again.
Hello, I suppose.
Have you heard of a troll called Horst, Nobby?
Oh yeah, he's a treasure hunter, he is.
How come you've heard of him?
Well, Vimes always asks us to keep an eye on him when he's in town.
Is he a lawbreaker then?
Well, he's careful never to get caught doing anything against the law.
Bit like you then.
Yeah, a bit like... No. Now you hang on a minute. I am completely law-abiding.
Yes. You're as innocent as the next man in Ankh-Morpork.
Exactly. Well, if I can pick the next man anyway.
Do you know anything about the Milka's cargo?
Give me a break, Luton. I don't know everything.
So either the first mate, probably not, or let's start with him because probably not.
Still here?
I could know a thing about the cargo or the...
What can you tell me about the cargo
watch
you
here.
just brought in?
It was heavy and it was all packed into crates.
That's not very helpful. It's what was in the crates I'm interested in.
If they wanted us to know what was in the crates, they would tell us.
But you could be shipping anything. Aren't you just a little curious?
A little being curious makes for a lot of being dead.
Don't you ever peek?
Even if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone about it.
Can we go up again? No, we can't. Not that we should, but... so he might know something. The watchman, that's the word I was looking for. So... He has a few more questions.
You're persistent. I'll give you that.
He'll give me that.
Do you know anything about the Milka's cargo?
Just one thing. That the cargo of the Milka is confidential and I won't discuss it with you.
Okay. Did I try to show this the coin to the Count?
Is the
Fully dead.
I've got a few more.
Go.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. Apologies. Thank you. Every transition, the music restarts. The piano, I mean.
I haven't brought you the sword yet.
I'm a patient troll, sir, but there are limits to my patience.
I considered asking Horst about the Milka's cargo, but I didn't want to tip him off that I didn't have the sword.
Fair.
So Carlotta's in a... You still haven't told me what you mean.
Let's just say that the three of us,
I'll be back.
and hopefully to seal our deal, sir. I look forward.
Oh yeah, I remember this bug. Every time this is re-added to the map, I remember. I mean, it rings a bell. I don't think it stops. Mausoleum's still here, and I have nothing to do in here, so I don't know why I'm coming. Milk's cargo. Captain not here.
I see, sir. Who?
Do you know any...
I'm sorry. I cannot...
I confess, I was...
Okay. So we have very few leads right now. We have Sapphire disappeared and nobody wants to talk about her. And we have this Milka cargo thing. We can talk to Malachi about a horse, but I don't think it's going to be helpful. Find Therma.
The skylight set on the roof, an inviting old...
I can't get into the warehouse because I don't have the rope anymore. See, I have the grappling hook without a rope, so that would be really useless. Oh shoot. Sorry about that.
That wasn't going to help me.
And the captain used to be in the bar, and he's not in the bar anymore. Or in the cafe. Because that would be also good good contact. So he was there. You don't see, he was here. There's not even a way to get here anymore. So thought process. He knows about Jasper Horst. Oh.
Ah, Mr. Dennis, I trust you have brought something with you that...
I haven't brought you the sword.
I should let him speak, at least once full time.
Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
I trust you are not trying to confuse me, Mr. Luton.
You try that, yeah?
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
Become, sir. Let us not stray from the matters in hand.
What do you know about the
A strange question, but you have your reasons, I'm sure. I must say I was impressed.
Does the word Azil mean anything to you?
Become, sir. Let us not.
Right, every time. Can I, okay. Let's try that again, and that's the there it goes.
Mr. Luton, it is always a pleasure to see you. I trust you have brought something with you that will be to my liking.
I haven't brought you the sword yet, if that's what you mean.
I'm a patient troll, sir, but there are limits to my patience.
Yeah. This was there. I'm pretty sure. But, I feel the sailor is randomly here, not.
The way I came, I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched.
Oh. How can we?
I was never going to get anywhere if I didn't learn to resist the urge to use the crowbar at every available opportunity.
That is great. Okay, so that was weird.
Someone was definitely following me.
But if it's Alkali, it's not very
They
useful.
were keeping their distance, but I managed to briefly catch sight of the dwarf who was following me.
Was that something we could have done before?
I doubled back on myself, trying to get a good look at the dwarf who was following me. It was Alkali. I slipped away into the streets before he realized I'd spotted him. Alkali was still following me. Alkali was still following me.
Okay, that doesn't teach us much, does it? Coffee desk, filing cabinet. Ooh.
They'd put a chalk outline where Mundy's body fell. What was it like, I wonder, to have only a white silhouette to mark your passing? I could have erased the outline, but there didn't seem any point. Sooner or later, someone else would do it, and then there would be no mark left of Mundy. Come to persecute me some more, Luton? A man's gotta have a hobby. Do you know anything about the Milka's cargo? Leave me alone, Luton. Do you know a troll by the name of Jasper Horst? I know a lot of people. That doesn't mean I want to talk about them with you.
Fair enough.
All I knew about the statue was that it was a work in progress. I didn't have any reason to steal.
I don't know.
Well, Do you know a troll by the name of Jasper Horst? Malachite was as talkative as a corpse, and only slightly more attractive.
Oh well. We still can't speak to Sam, can we? Hello.
I decided.
No.
I need your help again, Nobby.
Well, okay, I suppose.
There's something to do with the count, isn't there?
I had a
Yeah, me too.
Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
Never heard of him.
Ouch.
What if I told you that I was working on a case that could make us both rich? What if I told you I had a lead on a golden sword of untold value? What would you say to me?
I'd say you're having me on. Come on, Luton. What do you take me for? Still, untold value, eh? Is that a lot? I mean, my vest has got untold value, too.
Interested?
Nah, it's gotta be a wind-up. Golden swords. You must think I was born yesterday.
Oh, you were born, were you? I always thought you were hatched out by the sun, Nobby.
Okay, that's not very helpful.
Do you know anything about the Milka's cargo?
Give me a break, Luton. I don't know it.
That was the last page. Anything left? I've forgotten. He doesn't want to speak about that.
Tell me more about these counter...
I'm not really sorry.
You can...
What? No. Look,
Why not?
it's not to be discussed with anyone who's not part of the
Ah, well that makes... Obviously you wouldn't want... And...
Well, but the prime suspect in the counterweight killings is that foreign spy who's been killing all the prominent people. Like that bloke up at Unseen University and that...
Right. Well, I won't ask and... Seeing as...
Thank you, Luton.
I'm trying to find out why a troll named Sapphire would lie to me. Any thoughts?
Can't help you with that, Squire.
No, we did that already.
Do you know a dwarf by the name of Al Kali?
Never heard of him.
How did you know he was male then?
You can't ever...
Oh, one. I'm go...
We already did that.
It didn't seem worth asking. I don't suppose you...
Yeah, we did that already.
They tops. Not...
That's...
He went. I seem to remember.
Anna. What happened?
He escaped. You've seen him?
No, just in... What do you know about a...
Never heard of him.
Okay.
Does 3712V mean anything to you?
No.
Does 37...
Oh, damn. But anyway, that's the end, yeah? It is. Yeah, that's the cases, and that's the content, and there's nothing prior to that, yeah. Okay, I am a little bit at a loss right now. He knew Monday, we can
Still here?
talk to him
Not
about
much longer, I... Can you think of any reason why someone would murder Mundy?
I didn't think you needed a reason to kill.
Oh, we done that already.
I've never been one.
Don't suit you.
Damn. Maybe he knows something about the counterweight killings.
I have a few...
This is being a bit desperate now, is it?
I think I've found your intruder.
They've done that.
Really?
He's dead. Somebody murdered.
Good. That's what.
Maybe there is.
What? Why?
You just made it, and I.
You were.
Hey, of course.
What did you? You really?
That was the. Now that the crisis has been averted.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So there might be a rope that I could attach the hook. But I don't know where. Definitely not the rope that is left over there. I guess I will have to stop soon. Definitely not the rope that is in Mundy's room, I was saying.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
That's nothing to do with me.
And he doesn't want to discuss the cargo either.
Do you know anything about the Milka's cargo?
Just one thing. That the cargo of the Milka is confidential and I won't discuss it with you.
I didn't want to discuss this was clearly.
We could discuss it with the Count, maybe. Did we try? No, he didn't want to discuss it with the Count, I think.
I see.
It's difficult to remember
Is the Count
when we tried to say something and he said no. 'Cause it's quite generic, so.
I didn't want to discuss
Right.
I see. Who?
Is Carla?
Why?
Is the Count
Shit,
receiving?
I don't want to do
I've
that.
got a few. I'll be. I haven't.
Can I do that though?
You're still interested in buying the sword off me, I suppose.
Naturally, I am not a fickle businessman by any stretch of the imagination.
But you won't tell me anything about it.
Come now, sir. In our line of business, information is as valuable a currency as the dollar. I am not about to give you for nothing what may have greater value as a secret.
Perhaps I'd be more inclined to sell to you if I knew what I was dealing with.
Perhaps, but nonetheless, I am in no doubt that no one can match the prices I am offering, and hence, I have no doubt that ultimately, you will have to sell to me.
You could be right. We'll see.
Oh.
You let me keep the coin from Sorta. Why?
As a token of faith, nothing more. After all, the coin has little value of its own. But for those that know its origin, it immediately links you to the greater reward.
The sword is from Sorta too.
But let us not play these games, sir. Games are the pastimes of the tedious and of the bored, and we are citizens of the world, are far above such petty concerns. I dislike a man who plays games in his conversations. I prefer my associates to be direct and to the point. You cannot trust a man who takes forever to get to the point.
I love Horst.
Why should I trust you when you clearly don't trust me?
A strange question, sir, and one that borders on insulting.
Send your cronies to tail me again and you'll see just how insulting I can get.
Ah, I take it Mr. Alkali has been somewhat overzealous in his desire to keep an eye on you.
I don't appreciate being watched.
And I don't appreciate being made to wait, Mr. Luton. Give us the sword. And I'm sure you will find that all your other problems will resolve themselves.
All things to those who wait.
Patience, sir, is not something I have ever mastered. You should bear that in mind.
Okay. That didn't really help, did it?
Al-Khali was still following me, but he was concealing himself better since my little discussion with Horst. Al-Khali was...
I wonder if this is leading anywhere, if it's just for flavor.
It is, I'm a...
Why should I...
And I don't appreciate...
All things...
Patience, sir.
Maybe there's something to do to Alkali.
have a few... I gave the watchman Al Kali's description. He didn't recognize it. Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
Sorry, it's...
I am grasping at straw here. Maybe we can get him to
I need your help again, Nobby.
capture Al Kali.
Well, okay, I suppose.
Do you know a dwarf by the name of Al Kali?
No.
Never heard of him.
How did you know he was male?
Mind you.
One.
Oh yeah. I'd already forgotten this conversation.
Al Kali was still...
Not helping.
Well... What do you... Malachite was as talking...
It's a pity we know a lot of things. Also, Luton said, I need to speak with Carlota. She's not to be found. There's something to do to find her? Oh, wait.
All my best instincts told me not to take the tooth, but I just ignored them.
Okay. So we have a tooth. I thought it was written teeth, but...
A beautiful glittering diamond. I tried not to think that I had pulled it out of a dead troll's corpse. More importantly, I tried not to think about the fact that I stole it from the Salaci family mausoleum. The coin didn't seem to have much...
That doesn't look very useful.
Well, I wasn't about to flash the stolen tooth around. Someone might tell Lord Salaci, and the next thing I knew I'd have a blade in my back and a receipt from the Assassin's Guild on my bedside table.
Okay. Maybe we use it to break a window or something. Or maybe we bride Nobby. Who knows? I don't
I
know.
need your help again.
I suppose.
I wasn't about to...
Yeah, I didn't expect so.
I have a few more...
Your perception.
I had a feeling... I wasn't about to... I didn't want to... This...
Oops. Whatever. We can't go in.
If it wasn't for the watchman, as it was... I couldn't carry the crates even if...
Oops.
I was never going to get anywhere if I didn't learn to resist.
Making fun of players, eh?
I'd already had to dive onto the Ankh once.
I wasn't going to try again. And he doesn't know about the numbers, yeah. I feel I'm running in circle right now.
I have a few more questions.
And I'm tired.
I didn't. This. Does 3712V mean anything to you?
That's nothing to do with me.
I kind of feel that the count should be the person to talk to, but okay, well, I think I'll stop here. It's been nearly 4 hours anyway. And we'll see whether I think of new things while I'm away. Yeah, I guess I'll update Windows. That doesn't give us some flashing windows next time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have inspiration. So, I guess the point is, this is where it stops for tonight. Ooh, that's very spooky. Yeah, thanks for being here. And, you know, as always, good night, good whatever time it is, where you are. It's a pleasure to share these moments. I really wanted to play this game for a long time, so I'm pretty excited, even though I'm currently lost. And until next time, don't forget to stay curious. Cheers.